Awesome for the kids. They had a great time.
Yeah.
And Mike this year he's doing like a kids
Our sound is screwed up.
our kids day here.
Yeah. All right, I think we're on
Get a
now.
new battery, yeah.
Nah, we're good.
So yeah, Mike's doing a kids day on Wednesdays, and so I'm gonna take him tomorrow, see how that goes, and if it goes good, maybe we'll go again after that.
Excellent. All right, do you know how to mute
yeah.
that?
No,
All right.
that guy sounds better than I.
You know, it's a good thing that our mics weren't working because I was just rambling on and on in the very beginning.
No one listens to you anyway.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. Hey, can I read a few comments and then
Go for it.
You know what? We finally hit our stride here in SoCal, man. I mean, fishing is good
Yeah,
right now.
especially for LA. You know, I know San Diego's had it pretty
Yeah.
good, but up here, yeah, we're finally getting it.
We're seeing some really good fishing. All right, Jeff Yeomans, good to see you. Jeff says, good evening, Phil and Sam, and the Friedman Adventure family. Dan Smith, who's a sweetheart of a guy with his lovely wife, Kim. They say, hello, Sam, and all you fine fishermen and women of the Friedman Adventure family, and all you folks watching for the first time. Yeah, people for the first time, those are the ones that we want here, Sam.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Our subscriptions are just like, now, we're starting to push 100 new subscribers a day.
100
And
a
we've
day?
never been in that. So something's flipped. Something's going on.
So how much you got? Like 100 now?
Grateful. We're up to 110. Yeah.
Yeah.
110 subscribers. Wait a minute. And my brother and his wife
Yeah.
and my kids. Yeah, I guess that doesn't count. All right. Emmanuel Navedo. Good evening, guys. Hi. From North Carolina.
Oh wow.
Up here for a family reunion.
That's
That
pretty
is so
cool, man.
nice of you to join us from North Carolina. Christopher Bailey says, good evening, Christopher. Blue skies. Hello, North Carolina from Riverside, California. And then a bunch of guys saying no sound, which I saw, and thanks to all of you, we fixed that because you guys are the best, man. I need you. I'll screw everything up. Headed out this weekend on a 1.5-day trip. BS Gaming says, what's working? So I assume he's going out of San Diego.
Is that a
Well, it doesn't
5-day?
matter really, huh?
5 days, you said?
Day and a half.
Oh, day and a half, 1.5. Yeah. You know, that hasn't changed a whole lot this year.
No.
It's been knife jigs at night, fishing 40 to 60 pound tests in the daytime, whether it's on fly line on the slide, sinker rig, and then at night, that's been still the bulk of the catch. Seems like the fish are starting to get a little bit bigger, more consistent. But the other big part is the fish are starting to move north. So now we're starting to get that fish local to us, LA. You know, so a lot of the boats are getting split up between going to that school, that stuff that's kind of like straight out to south, and then the stuff that's up north, up this way. I guess the stuff up here is a little bit on the bigger side,
Seems like it.
but not as much of the quantity there.
Yeah.
How you doing, sir?
Wonderful.
Hey, what's up,
brother.
James?
How
Good
are
to
you?
see you, buddy.
Good to see you.
He was going to join us tonight.
Oh,
bro.
cool.
Yeah, take a seat, James.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
You guys are in charge. I'm
Yeah, no, Sam's in charge. So yeah, I mean that bigger fish seems to be
Up here.
toward Clemente, right? And
Yeah,
around that
yeah.
area. But now you got yellowfin tuna mixing in there.
Yeah, that's another thing that's kind of been different down there too. So what that kind of spells is typically a better day bite. You know, so you get a
Yes.
20 to 30 pound test. You know, same small hooks, same that kind of deal, but at least more fish, more action in the daytime. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Who did I talk to? I think it was the Pegasus or it was Diego on the Royal Star. They had 45 fish last night on the Royal Star.
Okay.
Pegasus had full speed limits.
Yeah.
Somebody told me, one of those two guys, 200 to 300 gram has been working really, really well here recently. But I think you still should bring those heavier jigs in case
Yeah.
you get some weather and current and
Yeah,
all that, right?
yeah. You know, as a rule, we're kind of, you know, always going to try to encourage you be prepared, you know, but the common question is, well, what should I be using or what should I be buying? And really, you want to have a variety of sizes, anywhere from 200 to 500 grams. The bulk of your jigs should probably be in the 300 to 400 gram. That's probably going to be the bulk of it. You know, if you had 10 jigs, I probably would have, you know, 5 or 6 of them be in that middle size and a couple on the large, a couple on the small. Should cover you pretty good. As far as the colors, as we can see from the success of the sinker jig working the Eddie Bomb, color doesn't matter as much for sure.
All right, we got all kinds of stuff going on here tonight, right?
Yeah.
So metered line, is that important?
Yeah, that's definitely still part of the equation. Knowing where the fish, knowing where your jig is in relation to the fish. That is one thing with the bluefin is that, you know, typically if those things are down 200, 300 feet or more, which they usually are at night, they just don't come up, you know, real shallow. So you're going to have to get down to them. You're going to have to make sure that you're know where you're at. You know, they just don't seem to come up. So if those fish are at 400 feet and your jig's at 250 feet, you're just not getting bit. You got to get down to 400 feet. So knowing where you're at's a big deal. And so, you know, there's a few brands out there that sell the line that's already marked, meaning that it changes color every 100 feet. That's kind of what we promote, what we sell a lot of. So I definitely would recommend you have that, at least on your rig that you're going to be fishing at night with the knife jigs.
How about the issue of if your line is scoped? There's all, you know, you're way out. You're not at 400 feet, even though your reel's telling you that, right? So you need to scope down some more.
Yeah, so that's something that's very important to kind of like consider, is that as you're trying to get down to a depth, you know, with the radar, with the sonar on the boat, it's looking straight up and down, so they can see how deep the school is. And if they see it down at 400 feet, that doesn't mean you're going to let 400 feet of line out, because your jig's not going to go straight up and down like the sonar is. You got to account for some scope, and that's something that's variable. Unfortunately, there isn't a pure equation to that, to where you can say, you know, you let out another 100 feet or another 200 feet. But once you do it a few times, you're going to get an idea of where that is. And maybe the meter line not so much telling you exactly where to go, meaning that, okay, you're going to go, stop, okay, that's where the fish are at. But more, it allows you to work a zone. So if you're working a zone of 100 feet, now you know that after you work that zone, you might try the next 100 feet.
Yeah.
Then the next 100 feet. And that's really going to be kind of what you want to do, is really kind of figure out where that control depth is and work that zone. Because you're right. If you have even 500 feet of line out, you may not be even 400 feet down, because you're going to have scope. You can only see down about 15 feet or so.
Are you looking for food, or what are you looking for?
There's someone that came in the door.
Oh.
You can't hear that?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Well, then that's what I was looking at.
Oh, okay. I just let the door open and just ignore it.
Okay. So yeah, that's basically it. You know, you're gonna want to be able to use that as a guide. You know, for sure.
Perfect. All right. Let's see. Cue Ball says he feels like a troll fish. Roderick Fombry. I haven't seen you for a long time, Roderick. It's great to have you with us. David Hollinshead says yes, got it now. Audio is fixed. Yeah, finally. I figured it out. It only takes me normally, I have like a half hour to get the show on track. Then I get it back on track. You know, this guy sitting right here, James Moser, he was catching these giant thresher sharks right in the harbor, right? Are you guys in the harbor?
We're just outside.
Just outside.
I won't tell you where.
Okay. Yeah, and I don't blame you. But it's funny because one man's treasure, I mean, these guys got this giant thing, is another man's pain in the butt. And I'm talking about Pat Whitaker on the bait boat Manana.
Oh, I bet.
He said it's so dark out you can't see those things. He said his deckhand got whipped. It tore a hole in his slicker gear and bruised the heck out of him. So
yes,
it's pretty crazy, man.
Those things are no joke, man.
Dude.
Yeah.
300-pounder the other day.
Yeah, those things are no joke.
They're biting good.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. You know, thresher sharks are good. Here's what I say about all this and albacore.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
That's what I say. Yeah.
Thresher sharks don't
Eat
show
albacore.
up
They
in
follow
July.
the-
They show up in May. They're a couple months late. Barracuda show up. Everything is behind. There's no reason why albacore are going to be here on the 4th of July. I still maintain. Everybody's laughing back there.
The only
but
reason
I
would
don't
be
care.
that they're not. But yeah, other than that, they might. Yeah.
So they're biting pretty good up in San Francisco right now.
The albacore?
So yeah, that's not a great
Are
sign. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Just started, but now they got weather up
Well,
there.
they're just up the coast a little bit.
That's
then.
right.
Yeah.
Drive down the street.
I might have to drive up there and catch them.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Alex says one-day trip loaded up today. So he's saying, I guess, one-day trip caught bluefin, I'm guessing. Blue Skies is happy to see you. Joe Serwald says Santa Cruz catching bluefin tuna too. I mean, we already knew that bluefin tuna was up there around, the Channel Islands. They had a whack on it on the Endeavor.
Yeah.
In fact, it was Cody Rogers who was running the boat, and I was just out with him on the Island Spirit. My brother flew in from Taiwan.
I saw that. Yeah.
That was so much fun.
That's awesome.
Man.
Yeah.
That was really fun.
Yeah.
We had a good time. But Cody ran that trip, and he said it was freaking. He goes, I couldn't believe it, man. All of a sudden, I look, and there's bluefin just coming out of the water. We were undergunned. We got some jigs on it, caught 3 fish, but they're everywhere, man.
Everywhere. Yeah.
It's really
all the way up to San Francisco as well. Yeah. Getting those big fish up there.
And now you got the albacore up there, so that's pretty good. PNS Hardnick says there's sound now. Jake Lightfoot, you got it. Cue Ball, there you go. Let's see. Joe Sirwalt, evening, Sam and Phil. Let's see. Isaac says, Ethan and I are doing an overnight on Saturday, staying on the boat and doing a 1.5-day trip. That's pretty good. So he's going on an overnight trip, Sam, and then he's going on a 1.5-day trip. That ought to be a lot of fun, right?
Jeez, man,
Just
that's
staying on the
awesome.
boat.
Yeah, that's hardcore. Yeah,
I like that.
that's really cool.
Victor Clark, hi Sam and Phil. Going barracuda and bass fishing for the first time tomorrow. This is great. Any tips on what to do? Hook size and line. How would you target bass? Thank you so much, Victor. If you get a chance, tell us what boat you're going to be on. Maybe you'll be on the Monte Carlo and Sam can tutor you
Yeah,
tomorrow.
it really
but-
depends on where you're going to be at. Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard a whole lot of bass fishing so much on the half-day boat. Maybe he's talking about going up to Channel Islands. I know those guys might catch some barracuda and bass up there. But
Barracuda is going to to be iron, right?
yeah. But
He's asking about barracuda.
Yeah, but
I mean,
you can get them on bait too. You know.
yeah,
I mean,
you can, but
Yeah, and
it sucks.
well, okay. So can you get them on bait? Yes. It's more fun to get them on a jig.
Yeah.
And they eat just about any jig, really. You know, I mean, typically you're going to be going into your Tatty, Tatty C, Tatty A1, stuff like that, but maybe even a 45.
Yeah.
And you're working mostly a surface iron. That's what you're working. But they'll eat I'm sure they'll eat a Zacano or they'll eat a Cold Sniper, that kind of jig too. I'm sure they would eat that as well.
Guaranteed.
As
You
far
like
as-
single hook or treble?
I don't think it matters really. You know, I used to really be a big single hook, proponent, but I'm not sure if it's that big a deal. It is easier to release a fish if you get a lot of shorts.
Right.
Or if you're just not going to keep them and you want to let them go easier, that is kind of nice. But you can get them on bait too. Fly lining, 20-pound test, size 2.0 hook or something like that would be fine. You do get bit off a few times, but that's all right. I mean, you're not out there to try to harvest 40, 50 fish. I mean, the way they're biting right now, especially up there up north, it seems like you can get all you want. So,
Yeah.
But there are more fun to catch them on jigs. And then on the bass, I gotta imagine they're fishing kind of like a fly line, something with a sliding hook sinker, and maybe a 2.0 hook as well.
80 people watching now, man.
All right.
It is building to a crescendo. Where are you looking over there? Those guys are bugging you or what?
I don't know. I don't know if they would get some background noise.
I don't think so. It's
yeah.
all right. It's like Tackle Shop Confessions, man. It's
is.
lively in there.
It
What
is lively,
Can
yes.
I tell you, right? It's good stuff. All right, Victor, good luck tomorrow. Hope you get them. Oscar Geronimo. Whoop, whoop. How's everything? Good to see you. Steve Bermudez, who's a funny guy, let me tell you. He gives me a stomach ache. He's so funny.
Funnier than
Good
you,
to see
huh?
you, Steve. Joe says, good evening, guys. Emmanuel, how much for food? Pizza and wings are on me.
All right, there
Oh,
you
I
go.
love
Yeah,
you.
come on down.
Hey, Emmanuel, just who's going to eat tonight? Me and you? Is that it?
And Emmanuel.
Oh, and Emmanuel, yeah. Like 500 should cover it, right?
Yeah.
Emmanuel, whatever you think. It's whatever. It's very kind of you. Are we going out after this?
We'll see.
Oh,
Maybe.
come on. You're always, oh my God, Emmanuel, you covered it with that, my friend. Isaac just contributed $20
Wow,
to the
man,
show.
that's cool,
Isaac, we love you. Thank you so much. BS Gaming. Okay, perfect.
Bye, Mr. Phil.
See you later, boys. Josh, take care.
You too, man.
Good to see you. Daniel Leano says hello. Emmanuel just sent $50.
Wow, we're gonna eat good
That
tonight.
is the best we've ever had, Emmanuel.
That's
Thank
pretty
you
awesome, man.
so
Jeez.
much. That means a lot. I might keep doing this. My brother's trying to talk me into going back to China and teaching. Saying, I got a job for you, man.
you
You're
go.
going to like this.
All right, guys.
Hey, see you later, Eric.
man. There you go.
Eric,
Fishing
make sure
tomorrow,
you
what?
wave goodbye to everybody.
Tomorrow morning?
I'm working on it.
All right.
Tomorrow afternoon for sure.
All righty.
All right. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. That's pretty darn nice, I'll tell you. Except next time, just send it to my Venmo because I was going to stick him with the bill tonight. No, just
You're on
kidding.
the hook.
Yeah. Mickey Salinas, who's a wonderful guy. Mickey, good to see you. The hubby is working tonight, so I'm keeping up with our Tuesday evening tradition with our 8-month-old son. Sarah says that. So isn't that nice?
That's
Her
awesome.
husband's working, and she's still watching the show.
Yeah.
We got to provide some good content
That's
for
pretty
you
cool.
somehow. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. Patrick cannot wait for the day when he can take our son fishing. What is an appropriate age for our son to go the coming year? Sarah wants to know. That's a good question. I can
good
tell you,
question.
I took my kids when they were 2. Patrick was on my shoulders. He'd ride my shoulders, and then I put him on the bait tank, make sure the deckhand was watching him so he wouldn't drown, and then he'd just sit there playing with the bait the whole time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's a little young. But what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know if appropriate would be the right. Yeah, so I mean, I would think 10 years old or something like that probably be pretty good.
Yeah.
You can probably take them a little earlier, depending on the kids. Some kids are a little bit more attentive and that kind of thing too. And maybe if you're going on a charter, might be even better. So if you maybe get a hold of a charter where everybody knows you, or you know them, might be helpful too. But I'd say 10 years old is a good age where I can kind of blanket agreement that it's a good age for a kid to go tuna fishing.
Yeah, definitely. I told James he had to spend at least $200 to be part of the audience. So look
Oh,
at
is
him,
he?
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going
He's in
crazy
there.
here.
We need some steel leaders for tomorrow.
Steel leaders. I haven't fished with those for a million years. All right, let's go to Jack Sepulveda, another great guy. Hi, Phil and Sam. I just won a United Composite 9E Reaper jig stick from Mag 12 Swim Baits. That's our good friend KJ. Which reel would you pair with this rod? Star drag or 2-speed? Thank you.
I probably would do a star drag reel, something like a Trinidad 20, Trinidad 16, or maybe even a Tranks 500. That rod's a really kind of a universal do-it-all type of jig stick. It'll throw small jigs, big jigs, fish, kind of small to medium fish, all the way up to like a nice size, medium sized tuna. But if you thought you were going to be fishing big fish only on it, and thinking you were going to go tuna fishing or something like that, then I would put a 2-speed on it. But to me, it really depends on what you're targeting, but it's a super universal rod in which I would probably fish a star drag reel.
Are you ready for some breaking news, everybody?
What you got?
You ready, James?
I'm ready.
Private boaters, bait, live bait
Abridondo, huh?
at Catalina Island
Oh, yeah,
this
yeah,
weekend.
yeah.
East of Avalon, my friend Pat Whitaker will be set up on the bait boat Mañana. You can call him on channel 11. And also he has a cell phone number, which is on my Facebook page and on our YouTube shorts. So Pat's going to be there selling bait.
Wow.
And that's, how many times you get low on bait at Catalina and then you're screwed.
All
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah, right? And so this is going to be a great thing. And it may open the door to something in the future. But this weekend, Pat will be there. If you mention Friedman Adventures, he won't sell you any bait. No, he'll give you a discount. So,
Yeah.
So there he is, man. That's breaking news. I thought you'd like that. I saved that for yours. So what is Matt interrupting our show for?
He's not interrupting our show.
Oh, he's not?
No.
He's contributing to it. Yeah.
It's just
Is he distracting you?
Yeah. I'm glad you can't see that, everybody. That's very, very rude.
out of here. Goodbye.
Oh, you're leaving?
Yes.
All right.
Bye, Phil.
Thanks for wearing that Notre
Bye,
Dame
man.
green shirt.
Notre Dame is
Go
undefeated.
Irish!
It's blue and gold.
Is that John back there?
Woo!
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Bye, guys.
All right, see you later, Matt. Thank you. James will probably be going to dinner with us unless somebody sends a pizza down here. Then you're going to be sitting in.
Pizza, I can.
Ricardo Villa looking to get a swim bait setup and jig setup. What do you recommend, rod and reel? Prefer UC rods. Sam, take it
Swim bait
away.
setup and a jig setup. So on a jig setup, that 9E or 10E from them is hard to beat. The 9E, a 9-footer, a 10E, a 10-footer. Those are hard to beat. Those are probably, as far as a modern rod, what I would recommend. That 10E might give you a little bit more versatility on the heavy side for the yellowtail fishing, whereas the 9E is kind of more something that you can fish local and maybe a little more medium-sized fish too. As far as the swim bait rod, they have their swim bait fanatics. I actually have that 711 heavy or 711H. I have that paired up with a Tranks 400. It's a great pairing. You could do just about everything with it locally. I do some even half-day boat fishing for scoping with a jig, all the way up to throwing swim baits and then even like small jigs for small yellowtail. It's a pretty versatile setup, especially for us locally, what we have going on. That Barracuda would be perfect on that rod too. So that's what I would do. 711H swim bait fanatic and either a 9E or a 10E on the rod. As far as a reel, for the swim bait, something in a 400 size, either a Lexa 400 or a Tranks 400, something like that. And then on the jig stick, I prefer the Trinidad 20, but something in that size. There could be a Saltist 40, a Torium 20, or Saltiga 40, something in that kind of size. Even if you're going to go pen, they have the Fathom 25 narrow, which would be a nice pairing too with either of those. and the star drag.
I feel like that was a really good answer. I feel like you've been very distracted for most of the show here tonight.
What'd you say?
That one, you focused right in on and killed it. Yeah, see? Proved my point. All right, Richard, good luck to you. Fish Slayer SoCal sends us $10. Thank
Awesome.
you so much. We really appreciate it. He is going on a 2.5-day trip this weekend on the Fortune Gray Boat. What setups are recommended? Thank you in advance. Sam.
Yeah, I mean,
Focus, Sam.
As
Focus.
the season goes on, it's more of the same. You got to kind of take everything. Along with this this yellowfin that's showing up as well. You might even take a 20-pound outfit where we kind of really weren't doing anything with that maybe 2 months ago. Now with that yellowfin showing up, a 20-pound outfit is something that you want to have for that daytime yellowfin. But so now we're looking at a 20, a 30, a 40, a 50, a 60, and maybe a 100-pound. So you're taking 7 or 8 outfits, and maybe even a jig stick. I don't think you guys are going to fish the islands on the Fortune, yellowtail style fishing.
No,
but you never know.
You never know.
But you never know, so a jig stick might come into play as well. I don't think you do any bass fishing, so you can probably leave that at home. But I would say 20-pound all the way to 100-pound. You kind of have to take everything. And with that 100-pound, it's going to be mostly your knife jig stuff. So that can sometimes even double duty for a daytime sinker rig setup that you can fish maybe 80 on. And as well as your 60-pound, 50-pound is going to kind of double duty for a sinker rig, or maybe even a cold sniper. I know some fish were caught on the cold sniper here the last couple days, and then you want to fish it on the heavier stuff. And then your 40-pound test is going to be your daytime bluefin if you guys run into that, and your 20 and 30 for your daytime yellowfin.
Excellent. I was real quick to say, no, they're not going to fish the islands, but I'll give you an example of a guy that just did it. Did you ever fish with Mike Jewett?
Yeah.
Hot Dog?
Yeah.
On the Big Game 90?
Big Game 90,
He was just recently out on a trip. I think it was on the Tribute. But they just creamed the bluefin. Creamed them. So they're like, let's go
What do
in
we
and
do
get
now?
a break at the
Yeah.
Coronado Islands. And they start hanging yellows
Yeah.
and full-speed barracuda. And so you never, like you say, you never know.
You never know, yeah. Fishing's that good right now.
There was a lot of guys who got well last night. Night fishing was great.
Yeah.
I saw the Grande had 20 bluefin today. A lot of those guys missed yesterday, but they got back on them. They're biting. It's really good. And, I haven't told, well, you probably heard my stuff, but Brad Phillips, who's down in Baja, has been tracking that yellowfin tuna, and it's from the Uncle Sam Bank all the way up here now. I mean, when this water warms up in this El Nino, and after we've had 6 weeks of excellent albacore fishing.
Yeah.
Oh, you're agreeing, huh? Yeah. It's going to get crazy up here. It's going to go right through January 1st.
The biggest thing, too, is going to be, I think, that we're having kind of some more stable weather, too. More time to look around. That stuff's kind of really coming through to where guys can get out more and more days. So this kind of stable weather, I think, is also going to be helping things out, kind of keep things.
This guy, James Mosier, is one heck of a nice guy, I'll
Is he?
tell you. Yes, I'm not nice enough to invite on the
He
show.
looks like a nice guy.
Yeah, he's been on the show. Great guy.
We've got a couple of guys that Captain Woody.
Captain Woody.
They're out now every day, and it was just miserable weather for.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah.
And now they're out every single day.
Yeah.
I can't even get them to come over.
All right, here we go. Let's see. What do we got now? David says, I am coming from Indiana. We got
Awesome.
North Carolina, Indiana. Man, we got people from all over the world. Utah, James Mosier coming over here, Montana. He says, he's going on a 3-day trip on the Vagabond next month. Are all the rental reels 2-speed? No, but you can rent them 2-speed.
Yeah, they're not all
available.
2-speed, but yeah, they have 2 speeds available. I would, as this fishing starts getting better and better, that rental gear starts getting depleted. I know that there are times where some of the landings will run out, because they may have, 4 or 5 trips leaving in one night with maybe a few charters and things like that, where they might have a lot of needs. So depending on your departure date, I would definitely recommend you call down there and inquire about reserving. I'm not sure how far out you would have to do that with.
Hey, that's a good idea. Can you do that? I bet you
I
can.
think you can, yeah. So you want to make sure that you have that kind of taken care of. And those guys down there at the landing, they're very knowledgeable. They kind of know what you need for your trip. And yeah, they have a lot of 2-speed stuff out to take care of you.
Now, some boats, and I don't know if the Vagabonds want them, it wouldn't surprise me if they have gear on there that you can just use.
Yeah, but
Some boats do.
I would doubt they have 25 sets of 10 rods. So, I don't want to always rely on that, and maybe you can call down to the boat office and maybe kind of figure out
Right.
on that trip. They may already know the crowd that's there and say, oh yeah, you know what?
We got plenty of
We
gear
got
for
plenty
you.
of extra gear. Or they might know like, hey, we got 2 guys coming from Montana, 5 guys coming from here. We're going to be pretty depleted. You might want to rent some stuff.
That's
so
right. Check with the boat, though.
Check with the
David.
boat, yeah.
and see what they say. Dan Smith says, hit that like button as 104 people surge on to watch
go.
us tonight. Good stuff. Gregory Wilson, good evening. Phil and Sam, I can't recall if Sam is going on the August 15th Horizon 1.5 day trip. Yeah, he said he was.
Yeah, he said he was.
Would enjoy fishing with you, Sam. No, I didn't forget about you, Phil. Counting the days. You are going on that.
That's what you said, yeah.
Yeah, that's what you said. August 15th. And by the way, if you'd like to join Sam and myself on that trip, you book with Bill Wilkerson. Just send him a text. I'm going to give you the phone number. I'll wait for you to grab a pad and pencil. You got it. All right. 619-985-5179. Book with him, and you can jump on
I thought
board.
it was sold out.
It might be by
It's
now.
not.
I don't know.
There's a couple spots available, I think.
Is
for
there?
Sure.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, you better have one of them.
Call quick.
James,
No,
it's
going
on
to be
the
on
Horizon.
The Horizon, yeah.
A Horizon, the big, beautiful, gorgeous
new boat.
Horizon. Bruce says, hello, Philip Friedman. Bruce, it's good to see you, my friend. Thanks for the info. Says Sarah, it would be a fun 10th birthday for sure. I also have no doubt he would put our son on his shoulders and near the bait tank also. Yeah, Patrick caught his first albacore. I always leave Philip out. I was doing the same thing with him. But Patrick caught his first albacore when he was 4. He sat on a deckhand. Alan Girardi, you know him? He worked on the Searcher. He sat on his knee, and I go, don't reel for him, Alan. And he goes, okay, I'll just,
Yeah.
And then Patrick just wound in like a 15, 18-pound albie. So that was fun stuff.
That's awesome.
All right, Tim W. Hi, Sam and Phil. You guys rock. I learned so much by listening to the two of you, mostly me. And also the amazing audience you have here in the comment section. That is for sure, and that includes you, Tim. Seriously, this show is something I look forward to. Thank you, Tim. We really, really appreciate it. That's why I went to the extra expense and bought that magnificent tripod you see out
It's
there.
made the trip right there.
If
I mean,
you folks
it made
could
the
only
show.
see,
Yeah.
don't stop laughing out there. It's the only thing.
I think might run out of batteries though, huh?
Tripod doesn't have
Okay.
batteries. We're okay.
Pretty high tech.
Tim W.
That's why I brought this.
Yeah.
Last month, I saw a guy with a bag for his fluorocarbon that just clipped to his tackle bag. It was cylinder shaped and about the perfect size to hold like 4 or 5 Seagar fluorocarbon spools. You know what he's talking about?
Yeah, I think so. It was a promotion that Cigar was doing. I think I have one sitting somewhere. I'll go look for it in a minute. But it was a promotion that Cigar was doing at the shows where if you bought a certain amount of
They had
spools,
at the PCS show, they had them.
yeah, if you bought a certain amount, that came for free.
Right.
So that's a pretty cool item. I think I might have a couple. Let me go grab.
All right, while Sam's doing that, let me remind you all that Ventura Sport Fishing is a great place to fish, great sponsors of the Friedman Adventures family, and I was just up there with my brother Paul in the Island Spirit. We had so much fun. 805-676-3474 to jump on board with all the boats out of there, and of course you have the Endeavor with Tucker McCombs. So much fun fishing with those guys. And 22nd Street Landing in beautiful San Pedro, California, 310-832-8304. Of course, Sam will be down there in the Monte Carlo. You have the Pursuit. You have the Amigo. You have so many fabulous boats all running there out of 22nd Street. And my friend Pat Whitaker, once again, to remind you all, will be at the east end of Catalina Island for all of you private boaters. Bait, he's going to get what he can get. He made a lot of chovy last night. He's been making sardine. He'll even try to make some squid if he can. So Pat Whitaker on the Manana. You can call him on Channel 11 or look in our shorts on our YouTube channel, and you can find a little short that I did on what cell phone to call. And I would do that, in the next couple of days. If you're planning on going over there this weekend, organize it. Tell Pat you'll be there. Maybe he has some way that you could actually book your bait. So you can keep that in mind. I'm going to keep going here, obviously, huh?
Book your bait.
Couple things. Pegasus has had great fishing at night here recently. I was talking to Jacob Barclay. That's who told me. He said 200 to 300 gram jigs working really good. And they had fished to 180 pounds. The Thunderbird last night out of Davies Locker, or are they out of Newport Landing? One of those two, same thing. They had fish to 200 pounds. So they had some really, really big fish. So I wouldn't fish with less than 100, 130 pound, 200 to 300 gram jigs. But as Sam says, it's a really good idea to bring some of the heavier stuff. Sam couldn't find it.
Couldn't find them.
Actually, he actually went to the bathroom. He's fooling you. So there you are. All right, Sam. I've
gotta go to the
done my
bathroom.
commercials now. Tim W. Anyone know if these are called her where I can get one?
What these are called, and maybe where I can get one.
Yeah. What? Oh, the bags. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it there really isn't anywhere. I don't think they made them to sell. I know we have a few here left from the show,
Yeah, but you can't find
but
them.
I don't know where they're at right this second. I know I was just looking at them today earlier, but so yeah, you might get a hold of us here next week or something like that. We might have some, but I know they are pretty handy. So unfortunately, it's not a regular item that they make to sell.
Jeff Yeomans from the 540 Slingers Club. Love Jeff. Jeff, we ran your podcast today. That was a very informative, great podcast. Got some information on the Kudabite. Any iron with green or mint was getting bit.
That's what I just bought.
There you
A1,
go.
two,
Lights.
Tatty 45 size. So the mint is working well.
All sizes sounds
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah, when we were up in Ventura, everything was
Was getting bit. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
guys were. I mean, Cody, the guy that runs the boat, was fishing a jig with no paint on it. Getting bit every
Yeah.
cast. So there you go, Victor Clark. Sorry for the late reply. Had to step away for a second. Thanks for the advice. I'll be going on the Enterprise 3/4 day fishing from Pier Point Landing to Long Beach. Enterprise has been doing fantastic. They had a $1.45 yesterday on the Barracuda. I don't know how they did today, but I assume it sounded like everybody had a good day, right?
Yeah, today was good.
Man, I love.
They've been out of the horseshoe.
There you are.
Heavy.
Fish.
Yeah.
This is different this year. I've been saying it. This is this albacore thing again too. These gar are not coming in here for
Yeah.
2 days and leaving.
They usually
They're
come
camping
in
out.
2 years before the albacore come. That's what I've noticed. Yeah.
I'm gonna kill you. All right, Dan. Oh no, wait a minute. Let's see. Hello, McFly. Hey, all fellow anglers. Just saying, hey. Hello, McFly's kind of a new angler. Great to have you back with us again tonight. Dan Smith, Sam, and Phil. Who does your shirts? I am looking to get some done. I'll have to send you a private message on that because I don't have that information in front
So
of me.
mine,
Yeah.
there's a gentleman here. His name is Victor Cortez. He's here out of Carson. I think you can find him on Instagram, Facebook, Vic Cortez, and that's the guy who does our embroidery.
Chris Dreyfus. Hey, Phil and Sam, I was on the gentleman trip, man. I definitely mentioned that on the morning briefing where we ended up with 300 Barracuda.
Full
The deck
speed.
was like a minefield with all the jig slinging. Chrome Tatty A1. I'm telling you, man, it's so much fun catching those
Yeah.
slime sticks, whatever you want to call them, gar. What are some other nicknames? Snot sticks. You never heard that one?
Skinny?
Skinnies,
Yeah.
snakes, whatever.
Well, that Barracuda is just kind of like, it's one of the hallmarks of our Southern California, especially LA, but, Southern California fishing, fishing those things, it shows you how to do a few things. It requires, not all the time, but, it requires a good long cast, using a long rod, knowing how to swim a jig, all that kind of stuff comes into play. And it's kind of like the practice field of later on fishing yellowtail. If you can get good at fishing Barracuda, you can usually get good at fishing yellowtail.
Yeah.
And so for a lot of us, that was accessible to us. Growing up, couldn't go on an overnight trip every week, but I can go on a couple half-day boat trips every week. And so that's what I would go on, and that's kind of where you cut your teeth, is fishing the jig at least, was on Barracuda. Now back then we would have a 2-month run of Barracuda, so we didn't have to hurry up and get out there.
Yeah.
But nowadays that's kind of the way it goes. But that's kind of one of the things that it does do. It shows you how to kind of wind through a bite, all that kind of stuff. The little nuances that really make you a good jig fisherman, that Barracuda fishing kind of gets you started on that, So
Absolutely.
it's really a cool thing to do.
So Art Taylor brought the Searcher up to Redondo. This must have been 20 years ago.
I remember that.
And he was trying to figure out the island, because
Yeah.
he doesn't fish here. So he's at Catalina, he's on the anchor. It's like 5:30 in the morning. He calls me, and he's just ready to kill himself. He's like, "Oh, we haven't caught a fish, for the whole time." I think it was a little later, like 8 in the morning. And he goes, "Oh, Somebody's got a fish. It's a miracle. He's looking out his wheelhouse window, and he goes, oh, it's a snot stick. That's a new word I learned. Snot stick. He was ready to kill himself. It was so funny. I'll never forget that. I think I kept that recording for a while. I'll have to tell you about what I did with recordings here. Maybe I'll tell you on tonight's show. Pretty good stuff. All right, Steve Bermuda says Mustad did that same thing with the leader pack promotion.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Steve.
Cool.
We appreciate that. Yeah, Sam is beside himself. Joe Surwald, does Sam still have the Daiwa tackle backpack in stock? Would like to call him tomorrow. Can you give me another look at it?
Sure can.
You got it. All right.
I know where that
Sam's
one's
gonna
at.
get
Two of my buddies have the Daiwa backpack, and it's like,
James Mosier gives it a thumbs up. Says is it really good?
Oh, yeah.
How come you don't have it?
because I have the Daiwa bag. I use the man purse.
Oh,
Daiwa
he's got a
bag
man purse.
instead of the backpack.
All right. While Sam is away, I'll remind you all you can visit him every single day except Sunday when he goes to the Misa, I'm guessing. His wife makes him go to the La Santa Misa, and he confesses all his sins for the week. So not only do they have to go to Mass, they have to wait like an hour and a half for Sam to get out of the confessional. It's a long one, let me tell you. 120 people watching now, Sam. And Sam, this time, has actually located the Daiwa bag. Something. Oh, you found the other thing too?
Yeah, yeah.
Whoa.
Well, there was a message right past there that Steve Nees.
Oh, there's
sent
Steve. Oh,
that,
yeah.
clued me in on this thing
Nice
here.
job. Nice assist there, Steve.
So this guy here, this is actually the one they were giving away 2 years ago. This is one that holds 6 spools of the Sea Guard. The one
That's
that they gave
pretty
away
cool.
this year was half this size, so it would hold 3. So yeah, so we still have some of these left. The promotion on is if you buy 6 spools of line, you get one of
get
these
that
for
thing.
free. Yeah, this is pretty freaking sweet.
Yeah, it is.
You know, easy to load. It's got those little dividers in here, and it works really, really great. So that might have been what he was talking about, and it's got the little clip right here, you know, to hang off your tackle box.
Oh
So,
my God, 121 people watching.
just right now.
Yeah,
And then this is the tackle bag here.
there it is.
Pretty cool. I mean, average, you know, for a tackle bag as far as the size. The big benefit, I think, on this guy here, and it has a side loading for the trays there, if you guys can kind of see that. And it's a molded tray system here. So one of the things that happens with the tackle bags is that when you take the trays out, you know, the thing kind of collapses. Well, this has a hard plastic frame so that won't happen. So if you know.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, so you can put your stuff in there and take them out. And why that's an issue is sometimes when the stuff gets heavy, it'll weigh down on the bottom tray. You can't get the bottom tray out. But with this guy here, it's no problem. So that's really cool. Plus it has a large top opening. It has a bunch of, you know, pockets and stuff to organize your gear. One of the things I always preach is, you know, keeping your gear organized so you can get to what you need when you're looking for it. So
Super important.
bunch of pockets to keep your stuff organized. It's a pretty cool bag. And so yeah, we still have it. Unfortunately, this one, the tag came off, so I couldn't tell you the price, but I think they're 160, 180 bucks, something like that.
And if you mention Friedman Adventures, what do you get it for?
Regular price.
I knew that was coming. I set myself up for that.
We'll see how dinner goes today.
James will be there. We're going to hear all about this thresher shark stuff tonight. It's going to be good. All right,
cool.
Here we go. Cue ball.
Cue ball.
I've seen guys rig a wood dowel across the top of their tackle box for the fluoro spools. What do you think about that?
I don't know how you would attach it to your like a soft bag. I guess if you had a hard box of some sort, you might be able to, you know, make something like that. But I've seen that too. But usually that'll go onto maybe like a wooden box or something like that.
Joe's having trouble finding hot pink Mad Max, 200 gram, 10 inch.
I think that's the only color I don't have. The all pink one. Yeah, I might have some coming in, but yeah, that might be the only one. The 200 millimeter, I think. You wrote 200 gram, but 200 millimeter.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. All right, more Barracuda nicknames that we
Yeah.
forgot. I love it. Jeff Yeoman says stovepipes. Correct. Cue Ball says scooters. Correct. Good stuff, man. Those things are fun to catch. I don't care what you say. Blue skies. Sam, what is the way you look to cook The berries, another
Yeah.
one.
How
Berries.
do you cook them?
I like them in ceviche, actually.
Ceviche, yeah. I know a lot of people smoke
Smoked
them.
are great.
Yeah, smoke. That's probably the best way.
Smoke are great.
yeah.
They're hard to get lit though, but
It is, yeah.
yeah. But they're smoked's good. You can take them and bread them. Do a
I would
fish
think
taco
so,
with
yeah,
them. As long
maybe.
as
I would
it's
think
well
so.
taken care of.
That's probably the big thing. Yeah,
It really is.
You're not
yeah.
sitting out all day. Yeah.
Cut out all that red meat, bleed them.
Yep.
All that stuff. It's going to work really well. All right, Mike Trunk. Mike, good evening. Is every time Phil mentioned albacore, the viewers took a shot? Everybody would be passed out in the first hour. And not only that, they'd be dead, Mike. Alcohol poisoning, for sure. Kim Smith says, smash that like button. Kim, thank you so much. Yes, if we can get to 100 likes, Sam is buying dinner tonight, number one, and I will not go back to China and teach. Although I can do this from China.
Show's over.
We're going to have
guys.
trouble
It's
getting
gotta-
together.
Show's over.
Hey, Sam, can you make it to Taiwan tomorrow? Remember, we got the tackle show to do. All right, and I see Steve coming to your rescue there. Andrew says, I'm going on an overnight trip out of Davies, August 2nd. Should I plan for bluefin? Too early to tell, I say, but what do you say?
100% yes. Yeah, they've already been catching them. Davies Locker, I think is what he's saying, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, they've already been catching some fish. The El Dorado, the Freedom. I know the Navegantes the other day. I think last night they got a bunch of tuna. That's in Redondo.
Yeah.
So I would think Davies Locker for sure. 2-day trip. I would think that's definitely on the menu.
I think an overnight trip, he said. And still, you're going to be
Even an overnight trip.
You're gonna be in
Even
that zone.
still, yeah.
Yellowfin tuna, bluefin. I only say it's too early to tell because things change so much in this
And
business.
maybe you should take an anchovy rod for the albacore, right?
Why didn't you remind me about that? You
That's
just
right.
did.
Yeah.
135 people.
I was going to see if you can spit that out.
Yeah, I almost did. I don't want to ruin my computer. We didn't get enough.
Did you get it off Target? $120?
No, that was that thing
okay,
over
yeah.
there. Hey, it's working. Look,
It's working
$14
great.
tripod.
Better than the other one.
Yes, absolutely. At least I can throw that in my computer bag in case I screw up again, which would not surprise me one bit. All right, Rick Slater. Let's see, is he next? Yeah, Rick Slater says slime dogs. That's another good one. Had a guy fillet one and rubbed it with mayo and soy and grilled it in the galley. Fantastic. That mayo does work like that. If it stays in a gunny sack too long, marinate and smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's just when it gets mushy, it's lame. Guys on the Island Spirit, we catch a gar. They had a whole big thing of ice, and it went right in there and got iced immediately. And then took it out, filleted it, iced it again. So good. I didn't eat that. I cooked that. We caught a bunch of rockfish, so I cooked that. I left the barracuda for my brother the next day. I never asked him how it was, but I'll have to check in on that. All right. Hello, Mick Fly. Hey, guys. Have a rod building question. Right up your alley, Sam. I'm putting cork on my CalStar and wondering if I should use spray contact cement 3M before applying the cork tape. Thank you.
No. That if you're using quality cork tape, I know there's some cork tapes out there that maybe doesn't have good adhesive. The stuff that we sell and use here, it's really good stuff. Same stuff they use at CalStar has really, really good adhesive, and there's no need to add anything. Probably the only thing if you're going to be replacing the cork tape on a rod is maybe make sure that the old stuff, the old adhesive is taken off properly. That'd be about it, so you have something good and secure to stick onto. But yeah, you shouldn't need to add any extra adhesive for that.
All right, and a reminder, the morning briefing tomorrow morning and every morning for that matter, when I'll catch up with all the very latest. Freddie, Holy Spirit Fire. Sam, what is a good basic reel to pair with California rod, 13 to 30 pound rated?
13 to 30. So yeah, I mean,
13
something
to
like
30.
that is going to be, when you say a basic rod, basic reel, I'm thinking something that's easy to operate. I would probably look at that Lexa 400 if you're just getting started. Those are a small bait caster, and that it does a lot. That little reel there does so much. It'll cast real good. It's got good drags. It's also a level wind, so when you're winding in, it'll do that on its own. So that's kind of convenient. That's probably what I would recommend on that reel. I'd have to kind of feel the rod to maybe say it might even take a 300 size. If it's 13 to 30, some of these rods are, it's probably 12 to 30 is probably more what it is, but some of these rods might be closer to the 12-pound side rather than the 30 side. So in that case, I would go with the 300. So a 300 or 400 size Lexa, and they're a great price, and they're very, very easy to operate.
Rick Slater wants a QR code so people can become one of our loyal Patreon members. That is very kind of you and a great idea. Rick, I will follow up on that. And all the Patreon members who are out there, we deeply appreciate your support. It means so much to us all. Andrew says, who makes all glass rods nowadays?
Well, we still have the CalStars. I mean, we sell them in here. Your 278H, 196.8, 90J. I got a bunch of them in stock right now. I know Seeker still does a few in their Seeker Classic series. And as far as blanks, you could still get blanks from all those guys, as well as we sell some stuff in here from Rain Shadow and American Tackle. That's all glass. And so there's definitely some options out there. But as far as an all-made rod already, you're probably going to be looking at CalStar primarily, and then I think Seeker makes a few, but that's where I would start looking.
All right, perfect. Joe wants to know how your trip was on the Royal Star a couple of weeks ago. He never heard how that was. Sam, it was okay, right?
Yeah, it was good fishing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the fishing's definitely ramped up since then. What we've got going on here locally has been just phenomenal. But we had great fishing. I think everybody caught tuna, which is an important thing. Some of us got maybe 5 or 6, some of us got 9 or 10 fish, and so everybody had enough fish to take home for sure. The weather was pretty good. I think we had a little bit of a windy start, but it kind of like flattened out, and the fishing was just as we've been describing. Some daytime fish. I would say 95% of our fish was caught at night, but we did have some daytime fish, and that's the other question too. That a lot of guys ask is like, when do I fish? And that's important, especially when you're going to be on a trip that's longer than 2 days, because you just can't be up for 3 days straight, And so you probably want to take your naps during the day, make sure that, and it seems like right in the middle of the day, right at lunchtime is typically when it's the slowest.
It is.
So
Seems
I would
like
say, I would say you're, 11 to call it 3 o'clock. It would be a good little window to catch some sleep, which may not still catch you up completely, but, sometimes we go hard all day long, and before you know it, you're tired at 10 o'clock at night because you've been going for 26 hours straight, and that's when they bite. So,
you sleep through it.
And you'll sleep right through it, so
Yeah.
you just can't get up. But, I mean, get your sleep during the day. And that still seems to be the case. Most of the day fishing still kind of hasn't really developed, except for that yellowfin might come around and kind of mess up your daytime sleep. But on the bluefin, most of the fish have been caught at night. Now, one thing that has kind of developed here at this fish up here, between Catalina and San Clemente has been that they've been biting the kite real good.
Yeah.
Which gives you some daytime opportunities. Kind of still more of a private boater experience, although some of the big boats are going to do it. But typically they'll do a rotation, and so you can get your sleeps anyways. As long as you know when your rotation is going to come up, and usually the crew will come down and get you and say, "Oh, you got 2 guys ahead of you, so you want to get up and get ready." So hopefully it'll go that far, but typically they won't go through a whole rotation. So if you're at the end of the line, so to speak, you probably are not going to get a turn right now, but that can develop. That the last couple of years that hasn't been as much on the kite, but when it was hot and heavy on the kite, I mean, guys are going around the kite 3 or 4 times on a 2-day trip. So we'll see how that develops. But for right now, I would say they'll probably get, in a day, maybe 4 or 5 kite fish would be a decent day. But that can ramp up really quickly into them getting 15 or 20 kite fish in a day, or even more. So we'll see how that goes as far as your daytime fishing.
So, Sam, you've talked in great detail about fishing at night with jigs and the metered line and what size. How about daytime fishing? That's when it's a different animal, right? Now you're fly lining, you're using fluorocarbon, and some of these guys, like the guys on the Independents, have been telling me, hey, not only like drop the fluoro down, but a small hook too. So can you tell, we have novice anglers out there. Daytime is going to be all of that, right? And choosing a good hot bait. And
Right. Typically, if you're going on a longer trip, 3 days or longer, one of the things that you have an advantage of is that typically the boats are going to be able to pull from a different receiver, bait receiver, that has bait that's been there longer and has been, what's called cured, meaning that the bait's in better shape. If you're on a shorter trip, an overnight trip, they kind of get whatever they can get, and sometimes they'll have good bait, but it's not as consistent. And the reason that they do that is that the bait needs to live on the boat for 3 days, and so the better shape that the bait is in, the better it's going to do for the 3 days of fishing. So So that's one thing to consider. If you're on a longer trip, typically your bait selection isn't as difficult. But if you're on a shorter trip, like an overnight trip, you really want to make sure you maybe even talk to a crew member and have them show you what a good bait looks like. Because that's sometimes, for a novice angler, they look in there, they all look the same.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what I'm looking for,
Yeah.
So we always say it's the hardest one to catch, but being a novice angler, they might be all hard to catch,
Yeah, right.
And sometimes even because it's swimming around real hard, you'll find that even those baits sometimes are beat up as well. So you want to look at a bait that's in good shape, but have the crew member kind of show that to you. As far as what you were mentioning as paring down your tackle, you're going to start off fishing as heavy as you can to try to get a bite. So that might be a 50-pound test and let's say a 2-0 hook. And it's still not real big, but that's something that should be able to land you a 120-pound tuna, no problem. Well, you might go 3 or 4 hours, not get a bite. Well, maybe nobody gets a bite. And so guys are going to start stepping down. The first thing I would do before I would go down in line size, I'd probably go down in hook size. Maybe a 1-0 or a size 1 or a 2. And some of the more modern hooks, they're smaller, but they're still pretty strong. You can fish 40-pound tests on them, 50-pound tests on some of them. So, you want to make that option first. And then after that, you'll go down in line size. And then you might even go to a longer leader. That's another thing that sometimes will get you a bite. These adjustments are things that you can do throughout the day. And sometimes we get complacent and we kind of say, well, we already got it tied on. I don't want to change nothing or, don't want to put in the effort. But that's really where you're going to get those opportunities where the fish just aren't biting, is going to be to make those adjustments. So first, I would go with the smaller hook size. Second, I would go with the smaller leader size, meaning the pound test. And then after that, I would go to hook, leader, and maybe a length of a leader to go down to the next level of finesse. So that's something you want to do primarily for the day. The nighttime fishing is all on knife jigs where you're using big line, a big hook, and big leaders, so it doesn't seem to matter at night at all. I assume because it's in the dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
140 people watching now. We're starting to move toward new records here this evening.
Record? What's
Sam.
our record?
I don't know.
All right.
I forget. Hey, another thing we're talking to your crew member about, and you can address right now too, is how do you hook the bait? Now, the guys on the ground who were saying belly hook, man, instant right now. But that changes all the time.
Yeah.
It can, right? So
Yeah.
talking to a novice angler or even an expert, how do you make a decision on how to hook the bait?
Right. So probably 2 rules of thumb is that, well, first of all, you can probably nose hook a bait anytime, and that's going to be the easiest way to hook a bait. So sometimes these other ways to hook a bait, whether you're a shoulder hook or a butt hook, sometimes, especially with the small circle hook, is not as easy to hook. So you might want to start off with the nose hook anyway, if you're having a hard time the other way. I like fishing a butt hook only because I like the sensation of when I make a cast, the bait just takes off.
I love
and
that,
you're,
too.
You're going to be pulling.
You're like, I'm going to get bit.
Yeah, you're pulling the tail towards you, and so it's always taking line off of your reel. So to me, I just like that feeling. I feel like something's going to happen right away. And especially if you're seeing fish boil up in the chum every so often, that's probably the way I would do it, If
You're not going to get bit on the retrieve with that bait.
Yeah,
and
that's the only
what
drawback.
Screws me up,
Yeah,
but
it's the only drawback.
I'm with you. I like that. Yeah.
But, if you see some guys get bit on a way long soak, you're probably going to have to go to a nose hook because you're probably not going to get bit until you get way, way far out there. And for as much as you're trying to feed your bait and let it out, you're going to be pulling it backwards, and it's going to start getting drugged backwards, even if it's like 50, 60 yards or 100 yards out. So if you have it nose hooked, as it's getting drugged towards you, it's going to be going in the right direction, so to speak, which is forward. And also, too, like Phil was mentioning, you might even get bit on the wind. So halfway in, that whole first part of your wind, as you're winding back to your boat to maybe change your bait, is I would probably go to about a half speed.
Right.
After you get about closer to than half, then go ahead and wind it in and change your bait. But that first half, I'd go about half speed, and it doesn't get bit every time, but it's pretty often that a guy gets bit, and you already got a bait out there in the zone, so to speak. You don't want to waste that opportunity. So something else to try.
Excellent stuff. You can join a lot of the guys from Island Fishing Tackle on the Monte Carlo tomorrow morning. So that should be a lot of fun down there at 22nd Street Landing in San
cool.
Pedro, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to try to make it. I got a lot of balls in there. You
You ain't gonna make it. This guy.
Yeah, I might. You never know.
No, you're not. Come on.
Naughty Boy 7. I'm going to be out with James all night. He wants to go to
Could be.
Mexico tonight. Naughty Boy 78. There are so many tuna jigs. What's working this year, and what would you carry for a 3-day trip with nighttime fishing? Excellent question, Naughty Boy 78.
So that's luckily something that hasn't changed a whole lot this year. I mean, the same rules still apply. you want to take a variety of sizes. You know, sometimes we get into like, well, what's the hot color? And really, color hasn't really been as important as making sure you have the right size. And not necessarily that they want to bite a big jig. Sometimes you say, well, I'll just take a big one, you know?
Yeah.
Typically, your rule of thumb is you want to take the lightest, or fish, the lightest jig possible that is going to still keep you vertical. And what I mean by that is if it gets windy and you got a 200-gram jig, you're just never going to get down to the fish. Because as you're letting line out, you're going to feel like, okay, well, I'm just letting my line out, so I'm getting down, down, down. Well, if the boat's moving real fast, what's happening is that the water is actually pushing on your line and not even letting you sink down. And that's hard to see because as you're letting your line out, you're looking at it's going straight down in the water. Eventually, it's going to scope out. Well, past where you can't see, that line might be scoped way out, and you may have 300 yards of line out, 900 feet of line out, and only be 200 feet down because your jig's not heavy enough to get you down. I mean, I'm sure we've all been on trips where we're trying to fish rock cod and you're fishing a 16-ounce sinker and you just can't get to the bottom with a pound, like not even close. Same thing when you're fishing offshore. You know, the windier it is, and sometimes you might be having where the wind's pushing the boat this way and the current's going this way, nothing you can do about it. And sometimes down deep, there's even more current than you're going to have at the surface. So that's one thing to consider is you want to get onto the fish. So if you imagine if this is the school of fish here, if you're up here, they just don't see your jig. You got to kind of get down in their zone, and you're going to be working the jig. I mean, sometimes we say, well, get to the fish. It isn't like you're dropping the jig and it's going right in front of their nose, although sometimes I'm sure that does happen. It's open if you, oh, you're looking for something. But what you're going to probably do is you're going to sink past the fish and work your jig past them. So you're basically working your jig up and down. It's really hard to really pinpoint with it, you know, with any kind of exactness that you're going to be right in front of those fish. So you kind of want to work that jig in a zone. But most importantly, you got to get down to them. So that's why you take the different sizes. You always want to, once again, you want to fish the smallest jig you can that's going to get you down. But sometimes that means fishing a bigger jig. So jig size is probably the most important thing. And beyond that, you might look at having an arsenal that has maybe a glow color and a non-glow color, you know, and that'd be about it. You know, you could probably make it down there with 10 jigs, no problem, where you have 5 sizes and two color styles of each one. But most of us are going to take 10 times that much, you know, just because every time we go in the tackle shop, we see something shiny and new, we're like, oh, let me get one of those, you know. I mean, I'm sure my tackle box and my storage there, I got 8,000 surface iron jigs, you know, and half the stuff I forgot I even had. But that's part of having a hobby is every time you see something cool, you just go buy it. And sometimes you'll see the same thing cool twice, you'll buy the same thing twice. But
why not, right?
yeah.
All right, we just had 165 people watching here. Is that a new record?
That's a new record.
Are you
for
sure?
Today.
165. Let me write that down.
Yeah.
Emmanuel bought us dinner tonight. Oh, I'm sorry. Sure, he was actually. I'm sorry. I didn't. Yeah, I'm screwed up. Emmanuel, thank you so much for that generous $50 great amount of money you just sent us. We really appreciate that very, very much. And to all of you who've contributed tonight, we deeply appreciate it. Hit that like button, please.
You go in the morning?
So many people watching and listening tonight. You can see those jig sticks. He's ready to rock and roll in the Monte Carlo tomorrow. It should be really, really great. All right, next one, Freddie Holy Spirit Fire says, thank you so much. Oscar Geronimo, follow-up to Naughty Boy 78 question. What would be the easiest go-to knot for tuna jig, Sam?
San Diego. Double San Diego if you can. There's the only thing that's kind of like a qualifier too is kind of what you're tying. One of the things that we do a lot of now is with these knife jigs is we're going to have a bite leader. So you have your jig. We're showing the bite leader, the heavy duty 200-pound leader, and then after that you could actually tie straight Spectra right to that leader. A lot of guys do fish a top shot, but you don't have to. You could tie a Spectra right to that leader. And the only thing I would change there is I would do a double San Diego with 20 turns. Normally a San Diego knot, you maybe do 5 or 6 turns, but because the Spectra is so slick, it'll slip through. If you do about 20 turns, you can probably do 10, but 20 just to be safe. It sounds like a lot, but that knot, because the Spectra is so skinny, the knot's not going to be that big. And if you do 20 turns, you're going to be more than safe. So that's what I would do, a 20-turn double San Diego.
All right, perfect. Chet Finley, great show. Thanks for setting me up last year. I tried for the bluefin tuna, but no luck. Going on the fortune next week. Thanks for keeping me up to date. Chet, best of luck to you, man. This
gonna get
is the
'em.
year you get one,
We're
right?
gonna get them. Yeah, next week sounds good.
Halibut man, that is Mitchell. Mitchell, good to see you, my friend. Hope I didn't miss all the hot tips and info. Hey, this is archive, man, so you can go back and listen 30 or 40 times. Just let it
10
go.
years from now, they can still watch it.
Oh my God, this is still going to be on it. Yeah, it is. Huh?
Of course.
Yeah, that's great, isn't
Maybe
it?
20 years.
Oh my God, someone will burn it. Somebody will get rid of it somehow. Naughty Boy, 78, San Diego, not. Yeah, Daniel Lightfoot. Where is Daniel and Michael? They should be here tonight.
Michael right there.
Oh, I know, but they should be here.
Yeah.
Hello, Phil and Sam. This is Michael. I'm going on a day-and-a-half trip, leaving Sunday night at a Seaforth Landing. What do you recommend I bring? You know who that is, right? The kid.
Yeah.
The great Michael Limon.
Michael, bring everything. Everything you got, man.
Yeah,
pretty
make sure you
much.
bring your grandpa. That's number one.
Yeah.
Don't leave him at home.
But yeah, everything from 20-pound test to 100-pound, kind of everything, and sometimes guys will say, well, I don't have that much. One of the things you could do is you could skip sizes, maybe go 20, 40, 60, and 100. You can make it down there with four outfits and be fine. And you could probably do it with 20, 50, and 100. 20-pound for your daytime fly line, I guess there's some finesse fishing. Your 50-pound for your larger bluefin fly line, and maybe even a sinker rig. And then you got to have your nighttime rig, But if you wanted to get it down to one, even, I would probably just have one big outfit, because that nighttime fishing is still where the vast majority of the fish are caught on the bluefin. So you want to make sure you have, at the very least, you want to have at least one big outfit, and you could probably go down there and still catch 2 or 3 nice big bluefin if you just took one big outfit and 2 or 3 knife jigs, that with the leader and the hooks and the whole thing. So.
And being that you're a young kid, one thing that I would recommend you do is you walk up to one of the deckhands and you say, I really want to catch a bluefin. Anything you could do to help me would be deeply appreciated. My name is Michael.
And
Nice
Michael's
to meet
so
you.
cute too. He could probably go up to anybody who's hooked him and say, "Can I wind that
I
in?
know.
Can I wind that in?"
Well, those deckhands are going to be like, get that kid a fish, right? Exactly.
He might be bringing in a few ones.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. Great kid. Keep your grades up. Keep doing good on that. That's the most important thing you can do. Thanks, Michael. Halibut man, hit that like if you catch fish. If you don't, everyone can.
All right.
I'm
It's
reading
okay.
like a moron.
It's okay
I'm
if you
sorry.
don't,
I'm
yeah.
all screwed up.
Not everyone
Wait a
can.
minute. Steve Bermudez, hit the like button. That's what we want to happen here. Steve Bermudez, for the cork tape, use double-sided carpet tape. It holds longer and tighter. Do you agree? Don't be afraid
Yeah.
to take Steve on if he's wrong. Because
Yeah.
Steve tries to be a know-it-all about things.
Does
Look
he?
at him. He's right there. Yeah, he's Steve.
So yeah, I would agree. It would hold on longer and tighter for sure.
But I hear a butt coming.
But
Let
I
him
would
have it.
say
Let him
that
have it, Sam.
There's no need for it to hold any longer. It's gonna dry out before
See,
it ever
Steve?
comes loose. So shouldn't be any concern. Now I would say if
Man,
you
you
wanna
let him
get
have
Steve
it.
out.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say is if you were kind of concerned that you maybe couldn't clean your blank before and you thought it wasn't going to stick, maybe that would be a reason. But if you clean it down real good and sand it, sand all the old stuff off, you should have no reason. Or maybe the cork tape that he has doesn't have good adhesive. Maybe that would be a reason.
I think Steve's been arrested for cleaning his blank in public. So, yeah, actually, not sure about that. All right, is that it? That's it. Is that your advice, right?
Yeah, you wanted me to give it to him. That's about
was
all I
good.
got for cork tape. Yeah.
Halibut man, Michael, do you have any big tuna gear to use? Yeah, I think he does. But Mitchell, if you're offering, you're a lovely human being. Jack Sepulveda, thanks for the info. Always learning something new on your show. Sam, you are the man. I take my hat off to you and expose my bald head in honor of a great show that you are putting on tonight. Andrew says, what pound fluoro should be using for a sinker rig if could only have one rod with that? So what, 80, 60?
Probably 60.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably 60. I mean, kind of like between 60 and 80, but I think you're definitely going to get more bites with 60. And the fish so far that they've been catching, I think you can catch on 60, no problem. But for today, I'd say 60 as this local fish starts to kind of filter in, and they are getting some nicer fish. If more of that 150 plus fish starts coming around, then I'll probably switch that answer to 80. So So that's something that if you're going fishing tonight, I'd probably say 60, but they are catching some nicer fish here locally. I know that
Thunderbird.
Matt was talking about the big fish that he caught.
Yeah, I saw
know
that. It's like $1.80.
Yeah, 180 pounder, and Thunderbird got those big
Up to
fish.
200 last night.
Yeah, so it's 60 for now, but that's holding on by a thread. I think 80 pound is going to be your go-to here coming pretty soon.
Yeah, the only reason you wouldn't use 80 is because you don't get as many bites. Is that what
Many
you're
bites.
thinking?
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, when I talk about dropping down to 25, sometimes I admit you're playing a very dangerous game there because you got to hook up fish that's 20 to
definitely.
30.
Yeah.
You start hooking a 60 pounder or 80 pounder, you can have your hands full, right?
Right.
So yeah, it's that balancing that you have to take into consideration when you're doing this. All right, Andrew says, I saw an old salt trim the tail fin on a Mac and got smoked.
Yeah, I know that's something that we would do a lot for like maybe fishing in the kelp lines.
Yeah.
Fishing yellowtail and stuff like that. On the tuna, I guess it would probably work too, but typically those things like to chase things down a little bit more. On the kelp line stuff, it's really more so that thing doesn't swim around and get you all caught up in the kelp, and you can kind of tether it a little bit and keep it in control. But yeah, I mean, you never know.
Hit that like button, please. Hit that like button, please. There's 150 people watching now, Sam. Let's go to Mike Trunk, and he says, the best way to walk a bait back to the boat is to put your reel in low gear.
Yeah, that's one way. Maybe you don't have to think about winding it in half speed. If you put it in low gear, it's going to go about half speed. So that's a good idea.
Christopher Martinez. Chris, good to see you, my friend. Thank you for joining us. Hey, family, quick question on what pound rating for trolling the feathers for yellowfin locally. Would 60-pound line after my bite leader be sufficient when the yellowfin tuna come close on sport boats?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, most of the boats are going to fish 80 pound or 100 pound, but 60 pound if you're on your own boat should be more than plenty. Should be more than plenty. Yeah.
But I'd bump it up to 80 if you could, Chris. I mean, it's up to you because you never know, man.
That's the other thing. Yeah, if you knew for sure you were only going to hook 25-pound yellowfin that day, 60 pound is no problem. But this tuna, there's going to be so much bluefin around that can just eat your feather that you probably want to have 100-pound for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not for the yellowfin, but for the in case a big bluefin would eat it.
And we're going to transition at some point in time after we have this huge albacore run.
That's right.
We're going to transition into that El Nino.
Yeah.
I'm predicting big eye tuna now.
Yeah?
Why not?
Yeah,
I predict and why?
Why not?
Because I'm wrong on everything. What else? Blue marlin. Yeah. Roosterfish.
Roosterfish.
I'm going to be catching them in the surf this year.
Imagine that, huh?
All right. Where are we?
Sunset roosterfish.
Yeah.
Sunset Beach Roosters. Chris Bailey, Phil, and Sam. Are there any reports of the bluefin tuna hitting the spreader bars? Also, is there a particular spreader bar that you recommend?
I haven't heard too much on that. I know that there has been some fish caught on the Mad Max, which is usually kind of goes hand in hand with the spreader bar fishing. I'm sure there has been some caught, but not to the extent that we had the last couple years. But once again, we're kind of having a late start as well, so we'll see if that develops. And that spreader bar fishing seemed to have been more effective up here. When the fish moved up here, it seemed like it changed what was going on, and that was biting a little bit better. But we'll see if that changes. As far as the brand, I know that Sterling, I know that there's another one too that was pretty popular. But we have a couple of brands here. I think we have the Tormentor and also the Cali Made, which are both great spreader bars, and we've caught fish on them just good. But it hasn't been a whole lot yet this year.
We are getting perilously close to 100 likes, which means you buy tonight.
All right.
Or you can shovel it off on James. You can't do that. And what's the other thing? Oh, I don't go to China.
If you run out of the $50, then I'll chip in after that.
See, Emmanuel, you got me to Emmanuel. Thank you, man.
The spreader bar thing. I know the guys on Stoked on Fishing. They've been using the spreader bar with the stringers, and they caught like 6 or 7 on the west end.
All right, so James is saying spreader bars have been working.
Yeah.
That was just a couple of days ago. One guy I was.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's gonna
work.
I think it's going to start to develop. Another thing, too, that I think is going to go hand in hand is that these tuna are going to be a little bit more surface-oriented. That one thing that I did hear about that was kind of different, and maybe, I'm not sure if it plays into spreader bar fishing or not, but they didn't see as many foamers this last weekend. There was a lot of shiners, a lot of breezers, but not as many foamers. but they're up and they're biting the kite with the flying fish. So to me, I think one would coincide with the other, but so far it's still early, and I think it's going to be happening. I think after a couple weeks we'll have definitely more of a trend, kind of like developing, but we'll see what that is. In a couple weeks we'll have a better report as to those spreader bars. But I would definitely have it on the boat. for
Over
sure.
150 people tuned in tonight. We had a 165 as the
yeah.
record now, right? I want to see 200 at the same time. Share this show with your friends, and that would be awesome. All right,
Cool.
building to a crescendo. Martin M. says, when surface iron fishing for gar, or kudas, or yellowtail, how often do you change your 40-pound mono?
Probably not that critical. I mean, I don't know. You probably could leave it on there for 5 years. You'd still be good for barracuda.
40 pound,
Yeah, 40 pound. It's got a lot of life, In fact, you probably fish 25 pound, you'd probably be okay. But I wouldn't get too caught up in that. If your reel has been sitting in your garage for 10 years, probably change the line. But if it's a line that you used last year and are pretty sure that you don't have any bad spots, meaning that you didn't rub on a boat or something like that, to where you have a bad spot on your line, I'd say you probably fish exactly what you got on your reel right now. Go fishing tomorrow.
Gear Jammer, Shimano Terramar rod has a line rating for mono and a different rating for braided line. Can you explain that?
So one of the things we have to
That is a good
remember
question.
is that braided line obviously has become a part of our everyday life, fishing life now. So a lot of parts of the country, a lot of parts of the world, really use now braided line as when they're speaking about what size line you're fishing is the braided line. The leader isn't like we view the leader, because we're live bait fishing, as our main line. So we have our backing, and then we'll have fluorocarbon leader, 25 pound or whatever it is. So now when we have, let's say, 50-pound leader and 25-pound line, and someone asks us, well, what size line are you fishing? Well, we're fishing 25. We're not really going to mention the braid, because
Yeah.
it's the leader. But other parts of the world are opposite. They're going to fish their line maybe 30-pound braided, and then have a heavy leader for abrasion or something like that. Real common in other places to have 20 or 30-pound braid and like a 40 or 50-pound leader. I couldn't give you a whole lot of detail as to why they do it that way, but I know that because of that, the braided rating has become really important for a lot of other markets, because they do fish their braided line as their main line, whereas we're looking at the opposite way because of our live bait fishing. So they're basically trying to accommodate different markets with one label, where they have a mono rating for the West Coast and kind of a braid rating for everybody else.
David Marin says, Sam, it was great fishing with you on the Royal Star in June.
Yeah.
Question, what is the difference between the new Shimano Talica and the old one?
I haven't really had a good chance to check those out yet. I know that they just were announced a couple days ago from Shimano. There's going to be a new product from Shimano that they've slimmed them down a little bit. I've seen a couple videos on them. Just looking at some pictures, it doesn't look like a whole lot of changes, but we'll have to see. I know the colors are a little different. I can't see them changing too much. I know the gear ratios are the same. I think the drag ratings are the same, stuff like that. But I got to imagine it's going to be similar to the Fathom, where there might be a few changes, but not a whole lot.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be throwing away your old Talicas quite yet.
Are you privy to any information about iCast and maybe some giant surprise that somebody's going to use as a marketing tool to try to sell something?
They did tell me a few things, but they told me I couldn't tell you about them.
Well, how about them?
Or them on your show.
Oh, what? Oh, you're
Yeah.
going to do it on another show, huh?
Yeah, they told me I had another show. That
All right, so you have no info.
I
don't
zero
either.
nothing.
All right.
He gets paid for it.
Yeah.
Robert
Well, the other
Gruber.
show buys me dinner, so.
Oh, I'm buying tonight. Actually, Emmanuel's buying you dinner, but I'm going to stick James with the bill. Smash that like button, says Robert. We don't want Phil going back to China. I like Robert. Thank you, Robert.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, don't hit the like button. I'm loving it. Thank you so much. Andy Favela. Hello, Phil. What's the latest update on the yellowtail situation at Catalina? What techniques or strategies have been effective? Thank you. Private boaters are doing really well over there at Catalina Island. Really, really well. Sport boats have a much more difficult problem. They're not as stealth. They can't get finagled their way in. But on that backside, man, I know a lot of guys are catching halibut. They're still catching a few sea bass. Yellowtail fishing's been good. Calico bass, bonita, barracuda. It's been really, really good. So
And the whole Palisades area is
James is saying the Palisades area has been really, really good. Fishing if you're not really that familiar, you can't go wrong fishing a kelp line. You're going to catch some calicos and and if you don't know your spots that well. But Sam, what do you say?
Well, it depends on where you're fishing. I mean, if you're fishing on a private boat or a party boat, but as far as a private boat is concerned, one of your main keys is going to be making sure your live bait is in good shape. You know, a lot of the local live bait has been on the larger side, and so making sure your flow and your bait tank size is going to accommodate how much bait you have. Sometimes, you know, we get to the bait receiver and, you know, you're going to pay your money and you think, well, I want to get the most bait for my money. But sometimes,
Don't overstuff your bait.
Yeah.
That is-
That's a great one. Yeah,
sometimes
don't
take the
put
advice.
too much bait in.
Don't put too much in there. And a lot of times, depending on what receiver you hit up and who's working it, they're a pretty good judge of how much bait they should have, you know. So kind of take their advice and maybe even ask them, you know, like, well, what do you think? How much bait should I get? You know, so that's probably going to be the most important thing, is make sure that when you get to the island, your bait is still alive and in good shape.
And of course, Andy, the breaking news on Sam's right here at Island Fishing Tackle is that Pat Whitaker will be at the island this weekend. So, like Sam says, you know, if you run low on bait or you need new bait, go over there and see Pat. He'll be east of Avalon, Channel 11. You can call him. Breaking news here. Are you selling anything at a discount tonight
Live
at
bait.
the end of the show?
No.
Oh, you're selling live bait from the store?
What's the breaking news?
The breaking news is that there's. I'm saying, are you every one of these shows you give a discount at the end? Are you doing that tonight?
Maybe.
You got Emmanuel. You could use his name for being so generous.
Yeah,
You could,
yeah.
You know, Pat Whitaker or the Manana.
The
You know,
Manana.
mention the Manana and blah blah blah. All right, 130 people watching. I am so thrilled. Daniel Llanos. He gets my humor. He says, "You are so funny, Phil." He's right. You know, the man when
Don't encourage the guy,
somebody
please.
makes a comment. Hey, well, I choked to death. Brandon says, "Just got here, boys and gals." He must be talking about you. Just saw the huge influx of anchovies at our receiver. Do we still have a shot at albacore? I love this question. Or did we miss it again? Sam, your opinion.
If you keep going west till you run out of fuel, I'm sure you'll find
James,
maybe
albacore,
find an
yes or
albacore.
no?
Of course.
Albacore. Yes, I say we still have a chance. The water's cold. It's looking good. It's going to happen. Everything is late. The thresher sharks, the barracuda, everything is late. They're not going to show up in
The
July.
only problem I can see with this whole thing is you're going to be so hard to deal with if we get to an albacore. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
You have no idea.
I have an idea, but I can't even imagine.
No, I'm just
It's
going
going to be so hard. Oh, yeah.
I'm going to be at Speedway serving beer, telling everyone how.
Yeah.
I'll be at the Orange County Fair starting Friday night, man. Here you go. Albacore. People are like, what the hell's an albacore?
You need to order them right now.
What,
Go to
the-
the screen printer and say, I predicted it.
T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I predicted it.
I'll just take a marker and write it all over.
You're gonna need thousands of them. Everyone's
you're
gonna want
right.
them. Yeah.
You're right. This is gonna put anything I've ever done to shame.
Yes.
This is gonna be on my my what do you call it, tombstone.
Yeah.
Yes, he predicted albacore
God,
2023.
albacore god.
Yes. Yeah, that's me. Yeah, we're gonna get him, Brandon. Don't you dare lose hope. Daniel Lightfoot Mitchell. I got an 80-pound setup, 60-pound setup. Tony Russo.
There you go.
Can you guys tell the reel manufacturers to throw the southpaw out here and a bone and make more LH reels?
Left-handed reel.
Left-handed reels for it. Here I go again, right with that. Yeah, yeah. He needs a southpaw reel. So
Yeah.
Is that a thing? I mean,
Yeah.
do you have a lot of people walk in here and
Not
say
a
that?
lot. And that's kind of what he's kind of alluding to, is that if you are left-handed, it's kind of hard to get a big reel, but you can still get an Avid. You can still get an Accurate. I know Penn made the Fathom 40 in the left hand, which it really isn't a 100-pound reel, but not too bad. But right now, you're gonna have to go to in my opinion, the Avid's gonna be your more affordable one, and if you want to spend a few more bucks, the Accurate.
My God, Sam, we've been talking for an hour and a half already. Can you believe it?
I can believe it.
My buddy's left-handed, and he has an Abbott, and it's still an amazing reel. 'Cause
Yeah.
we use a lot of Abbotts on the boat.
Hey,
Yeah,
why
they
don't
were
you
good.
scoot up a little closer, and then I think people will pick you up on that mic. You can scoot right there, and that's perfect. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Just in case you do. So we want our audience to be the beneficiary. They may not see you.
No, I'm
But-
the peanut gallery.
Yeah, the peanut gallery. We have a live audience tonight, my friends. This is how big we're getting here. James Mosier is our live audience, the Thresher Shark Killer. Hey, some guy caught another big mako shark. These kids, did you see that when I put that thing up? These 3 kids and these 3 adults caught I think it was 750 pounds.
Jeez.
I knew the minute I put it up, you're gonna get like,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you get like, you get people going like, oh
Yeah.
my god,
Oh, you
what a
get-
great catch, and other guys, that's disgusting. You know,
You get the wrath of people who
yeah,
don't
that
understand.
one,
but-
you know, hey, those things eat sea lions, you know, blah blah blah. So
No, there was one that there was a private boater from Newport. I saw it on Instagram the other day, and he was chewing on a seal when they were coming back in, and it was like a 500-pounder.
oh my
So
god,
they're out there, and Captain Woody,
yeah.
deep sea dash fishing. Little plug for Woody.
Oh, no wonder he's
Yes.
getting close
No,
now. Yeah,
no.
yeah.
Oh,
hey.
They caught 2 makos the other day, and then we've been going out and targeting threshers. So
So
That's
get,
awesome.
get this story. You guys will love this. So the Freedom the other night had 90 bluefin. Amazing trip. Tino said one of the best trips he's ever seen. They get a guy that's wrapped in the prop or something, and Gary Woodrum, Captain
Oh, I saw
Gary
that.
Woodrum,
Yeah.
he's like, I think I'm going to dive in and get this out. So he's thinking about doing it, and all of a sudden, here comes this 1,000-pound mako. They kind of like eyes him, looks at him like, not a good
Not
day to be
today,
doing
yeah.
that. Yeah.
we don't
He takes
do-
a
we
bite
don't
out of
do
a yellow
stuff like
or a
that.
blue.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. All right, here we go. Halibut Man. So he's talking to Michael. They're going to exchange stuff. That's good to see. All right, Andrew. We got your albacore up here in Humboldt. Grab a flight. Andrew's absolutely right.
Why don't you do that?
Somebody actually mentioned that to me. I'm screwed up for the next month. I worked the fair, so I'm full speed on that. But mid-August, I'll be on the horizon right away, and then I'm going to San. I'm going to catch an albacore this year if it kills me, which I'm sure you're hoping it will. But now, do you think people can hear you on your mic? That's just a.
Yeah.
All
well,
right.
so.
Can you guys hear everybody? I hope so.
Well, so I put my mic down,
Yeah.
and we want to know if you can hear me.
Yes. Can you hear Sam? Because he's trying to include.
I can talk
James.
louder if you want.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll leave it up to the
You can.
people.
You
here.
can't. It's about as loud
I
as-
can go into
No.
captain voice mode, and I just start yelling at everybody.
All right. Thanks again, Sam, for all your hard work to find items. JC, Fish Slayer SoCal, who's already sent us money tonight. Very generous, my friend. Sends us $5. What line for Talica 12H? And can this be sufficient for the big stuff?
It is going to be good for about 100-pound tuna. Yeah, you can catch a bigger fish, and I know lots of larger fish have been caught on a Talica 12. I'm sure there've been fish up to 150 pounds. I bet you there's been at least 200 pounder caught on a Talica 12. But if you have a bigger reel, I would recommend it, more like a Talica 20. But on that Talica 12, it's a great reel, 40, 50 pound reel, meaning a 40, 50 pound test, and would be good up to, in my opinion, solid up to 100-pound tuna. Once you start going past that size, you may want a little bit more line capacity, or maybe even a bigger reel.
All right, good stuff. Christopher Bailey, awesome. Thank you for answering my question. The tops with new Shimano Talica 12-16s coming out, what will the earlier generation be discounted to?
Just sold out. I'm pretty sure they'll sell out before they do any kind of price drop on them. With the way things have been with supply, it isn't like, well, at least with Shimano, it isn't like they've got 10 million of those things that they got to get rid of. But you never know. I mean, it's something that's hard to say. The new Talica probably won't actually be in the stores for maybe another 6 or 7 months. So if you need a reel now, I wouldn't wait for the discount. I don't think you're going to be able to get any kind of discounted rate on the old ones for, I would venture to say, 6 to 8 months from now. But I don't have any kind of hard data on that.
All right, lots of people watching still. Uh-oh, what do we got? Oh, my God, Leroy Janilowitz. Do you know him?
No.
Leroy is a police officer. Here he comes. He's going to limp in. Leroy, how are you, man? Say hi to everybody.
Hola.
Hola.
I'm James Moser.
How you doing?
Nice to meet
I
you.
know you from somewhere.
Yeah. Have you ever seen his pictures in the post office? You know, up there, wanted for, blah, blah, blah. You were a cop. You probably saw him on the most wanted
I
list.
tore it down. I tore it down.
All right, what are you doing? Oh, there you are.
I'm right here.
Yeah. How come you let Leroy in? You told me if he knocked on the door, you were going to lock him out.
No, I'm
You
good.
sure? Okay.
What's going on,
I
Leroy?
got a key.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, man. All
Shoot the lock off.
right, back to the show. You're getting distracted again.
Me?
Please
What did I
pay
do?
attention, all right?
happened? What'd you say?
This is very important. Dan Smith says, Phil, you could be right. Dan, I love you. About the warm water, fish moving up. Kim caught a Baqueta grouper. Wow. In December, right off La Jolla. So, yeah, big eye, come on up. A Baqueta off La Jolla,
Wow.
that's quite a catch.
I hadn't hear about that.
Because
That's
those are
pretty
very
awesome.
common in Bay of LA
Yeah,
and
yeah,
places
yeah.
like that.
Pretty warm
That's pretty
waters,
cool.
yeah.
Dan, you got to share that photo with me, man. I would like to see that. This is Brandon. Brandon says Grant Cummings has been getting bit to hell on that spreader bar.
All right, maybe it's a little hidden secret there.
You know him, guys.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do know. Okay, Emmanuel. Sam. Emmanuel is the man, Navedo, who's coming to us from North Carolina and so generously took care of our dinner tonight. Thank you so very much. Cue ball, Big Eye, and Wahoo. Bet.
All right.
There you go. Rick Slater.
I'd put my money on Wahoo before I put my money on Albacore, Phil.
Oh, James, you are definitely buying dinner tonight. Rick Slater, any Opa or Skippies being caught? There's skipjack down below because those guys that are catching that yellowfin on Uncle Sam
Oh, okay.
and up to Bonitas are catching
Yeah.
mixed yellowfin and skippies.
Okay.
There's been 2 or 3 Opas caught earlier this year. So there's a little bit of that around.
Sorry.
Opas are a sure sign of, do you know what?
Albacore.
How'd you know? Yes. Albacore.
Everything's a sign for Albacore,
yeah.
Phil.
Rick Slater. Rick Slater says Mako question mark. Yes.
Yeah, they've been catching them around.
They've been catching a few. Mike Trunk, how do rig a DTX 220 for
IRS.
Wahoo?
Yeah.
IRS for Wahoo.
So there's a couple.
Can you keep it
things,
down back there?
You know, typically with Wahoo fishing, we're using a wire leader.
Yeah.
Even on the troll, using a wire leader. So one of the things to consider with that is, you know, the DTXs in general have pretty much taken over the Wahoo trolling on all of our long range fishing down there. You know, Mag Bay area, all the way up to you know, lower banks and up to the ridge and that kind of stuff. Even in Alejos, anywhere where there's Wahoo, the DTX minnow has pretty much taken over. With the kind of exception of there are times where those things just don't want to stay in the water too good, or they'll skip, or they'll jump out of the water, things like that. Somewhat of a frustrating thing because you buy your jig and you don't really know until you put it in the water how it's going to swim, and so you get out there and you think, man, I just got this thing, you know. But I will say that some of the boats have kind of gotten into rigging some of those things with a couple of different ways. Where they'll rig them with straight mono, heavy mono, you know, 200, 300 pound mono, and it seems to change the swimming action. So what I would do is that I assume you're going to be on a long range boat. Is talk to the crew. I think that the prop wash on the different boats might be different, and maybe they're going to swim different based on that. And I would assume that the crew has a good idea of what works best on their boat. So I wouldn't get too caught up on making any kind of special rigging for them quite yet. Most of the boats, I would say actually all the boats are going to have some type of rigging available for you. So I would just take the jigs, take them down there, and then have those guys, you know, rig them up for you. That's probably what I would do. But your two options are basically either using a wire harness, 275 pound wire harness, or a heavy mono leader, maybe 300 or 400 pound test.
Excellent. Almost to 100 likes now. 128 people watching. Tremendous. I love you guys. Thank you. Carlos Matos. Eventually, I'll be right, he says. Yes, he's right.
Yeah, you should be.
Yes,
right.
if I live that long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Carlos. I hope I can hang on. Dan Bates, Phil can't go to China until we hit Albacore in Southern California. Can I go for a visit?
We're gonna get them this week anyway. Right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, you're right. Brandon is back. Big Eye, Wahoo, Blue Marlin, Roosterfish. He's starting to go insane here. Yellowfin, Yellowtail, and our favorite Albacore. It's only 65 degrees at San Clemente Island still, boys. Man, this season's going to be epic.
Already is.
Yeah.
Already is.
You agree with this guy?
Yeah.
He's a little nutty sometimes. No, Brandon, I'm kidding you. Yeah, no, it is, man. It's going to
sure.
be insane because the water, I mean, we're looking at an El Nino.
Yeah.
And you already see like the tentacles of it, that yellowfin. And
Right.
And the water here is 65 degrees, as Brandon points out. I mean, that's cool for yellowfin tuna. You don't find them in that normally, so
But it's coming up quick.
it's
coming
going to
up
be
quick.
really insane.
The light
It's
switch has been flipped. And
the light switch is
and
on.
we're gonna unload here shortly.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. If I don't go on the Monte Carlo tomorrow, I'm going to go see Mission Impossible, the new Tom Cruise movie.
So that's what you're gonna see.
No, I'm not.
You've only seen 9 million times.
Well, I haven't seen this one. By the way, the police officer who just walked in, people saw him, Leroy Janilowitz. When my stepkids came into the country from Costa Rica, he took them on a ride along that I still to this day hear about from them.
Wow.
Because, I mean, these kids from Costa Rica all of a sudden are in a police car
Yeah.
with this guy, and they're like, they came home and they're like, whoa, that was the greatest. And Rodolfo, I was just talking to him the other day, still talks about it.
I wonder how many tickets you wrote on that police
I
ride.
gave him I gave him a sheriff's hat too.
Yeah, he gave him sheriff's hat, and as I remember, I think they shot the gun at some street lamps and stuff. Oh no, that wasn't you. I thought that was him.
Yeah, doing some burnouts.
Yeah, Carson sheriffs are calling him right now. What? All right.
We had a great time.
Yeah, you still remember it, Leroy?
I remember it
He remembers.
vividly.
Oh, that's
Vividly.
great. All right, Mitchell, did you hear about the evil tuna? It was rotten to the albacore. I love that.
Dad
That's a
joke.
good one. Tino Valentine told me one the other day. See if you've heard this one. What do you do when where do you take your boat when it's sick?
Where?
To the dock.
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah, right? That's a good one,
That's
right?
the safest joke I've heard Tino tell.
Yeah, I
in a long
know.
time.
That's the only one I could tell. Exactly.
I remember that one.
Yeah, it's a good one, right? All right. Let's see. Have to agree to disagree. I want them sharks to kill sea lions. Brandon. So he's one of the guys that gets upset when they catch a mako. Andrew says yes. Matt says yes. A lot of people are on that ship. Raul, Phil, Sam, just spooled my Trinidad 20 with 50-pound cigar to pair it with my 9E. Should I be okay for big yellows in Bay of LA? Sam.
So on that 9E, that's a surface iron rod. So yeah, for down there, you should be no problem on the surface iron. Although a lot of the fishing down there is down deep. A dropper loop or fishing mackerel down deep or a yo-yo jig. So probably wouldn't be the right rod for that specific fishing there for down deep. But sometimes in the mornings, those fish will come up and splash around the surface, and it'd be great for that.
All right. Let's see. Brandon is back. Oh, crap. There's a cop here. Run, everybody. Just kidding. That's what he said. He's kidding. I'll give you his address later, Leroy. P.S. Harnack, sorry I'm late. We've been talking to Sarah, so we've been having a really good time. He's late to the party, had to work late, but hello from Montana, North Carolina. Where else? Where's that guy that's always like in America? He's in the.
Yeah.
I think that he's screwing around. That's Mike Trunk. He's screwing around, I think. But yeah, we got people all over the United States watching tonight. Surprised nobody from Mexico has chimed in. All right, Steve Barber, do you have any Tatty C's with single hooks? I saw some over there, I think.
Not that he sees. I think
Foros?
those are 4 lights.
Yeah,
4
they'll
lights.
work.
I'm sure they'll work just fine. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm with you, Steve. I like that, man. I like to release those gar. I mean, they're easy to release, they're easy to get in your sack, and then you're casting again and on another fish.
Trouble
Matt
hooks.
Pastel, Sam,
Nightmare.
what would be your choice for a 130-pound rod reel?
I'd probably do an International 30 and a UC Viper or Invictus. Actually, I probably like the Invictus for a little heavier, and then maybe a CalStar 775, maybe double XH or triple XH. But I like that International 30, but also the Macaira 30 works good too.
All right, very good. Julio Flores is happy to be here with us tonight. JC, Sam, will a Trinidad 16 handle fit on 14 the Gold Trinidad? Thanks.
I'm pretty sure that's a yes. But I have to look at it again.
Okay, cue ball. Cops. I swear, officer, that bluefin was coming right at me. It was self-defense. Well, you're the life of the party tonight, Leroy.
200-pounder.
Hey, Steve. Steve is chiming in, who works there at Island Fishing Tackle. Phil, tell us about your clothes giveaway to the people at Cedro and how it's going. Steve, thank you. So all that clothing cost a fortune to ship down there. I got to figure out a different way to do it. But it went to Diego Nuno's house, who's a deckhand on the Royal Star. I don't know. Did you talk to Diego a little bit about it?
Yeah.
So he's got it, and then actually he got with the Abalone Foundation or whatever it is. Yeah, the cooperative. And then the woman that runs that, and I can't remember her name, she volunteered to ship it from Ensenada, Diego's house, to Cedros. It's there now, Steve, and everybody. Tons of clothes, tons of stuff. And I want to bring this guy down with me when we distribute it with Diego and then give it out. So you were talking maybe September.
Right.
Later than that'd probably be better for me. At this point, it's like a Christmas thing.
Yeah. The thing is that the shop, we have a charter or a trip planned with Rosie on.
You're going down to Cedros.
Go down to Cedros.
Oh, shoot.
As of right now,
Well, you take a lot of time off. I got that dumb morning briefing every morning.
You can't go on the boat tomorrow, right?
I can do it on the boat.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So I should be going down there mid-September, to go fishing down there, and maybe we could do something then. But that's probably going to be our next chance to try to do something.
Yeah. So it's there, and at some point in time, I'm kind of edging toward more like winter time because this is a busy time of year for all of us, right?
Oh, and by the way, too, just today I had a phone call where there was a opening that just came up on that trip. So a guy had to get off the trip just today. So if you're interested in going fishing with us here down to Cedros, give us a call or give Rosie a call, and get that trip booked up.
All right, one cool tuna, a few Dorado dodos on the docks at Point Loma on Monday. You are absolutely right. One cool tuna. I believe it was the Liberty, had 3 fish. So here we go.
right,
I mean,
that's
that's
right.
just more. I mean, Dorado should not be in 65-degree water. They just shouldn't. But there's something larger occurring here, Sam. Are you listening to me?
What did you say?
Huh?
I'm reading that.
Yeah, I'm speaking. I'm speaking pearls of wisdom here.
Trying to get ahead. When
These people are soaking it all in, and you're ignoring me.
albacore. So I tune out a little bit to try to get ahead here.
Andrew says it's a sign. One cool tuna. Yeah, I think it is too. Matt, hey, calm down back there with the noise. Matt Leva, Sam, I have a Talica 20 spooled with 500 yards of 100-pound Max Quattro in yellow. I wanted to add hopefully a few hundred of metered line, a few hundred feet of metered line. What route would you recommend?
Yeah, definitely you can add it. I mean, one of the things that we do here is that we'll take a piece of hollow spectra and we'll basically splice the solid on both sides. We call it a bridge splice. But I told you earlier about that. You said it was okay.
Well, it's a little loud now.
Yeah.
I guess not. Go ahead.
So we'll put a piece of hollow spectra in between the two solids, and we'll do a bridge splice between them. So that's something that you could do. I'm not sure how much room that left on your reel, but you're probably okay to add right to what you got. If not, you might have to take a little bit off.
Do you mind if I read this? Is it okay?
No, you
Leroy
can.
gave it to me.
Leroy?
He's pregnant. Congratulations, Leroy! Wow, this is the first. It's so good. Let's see. Wednesday, July 19th, 2023. Special guest speaker is Mike Muto. You know Mike?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. It'll be at Hoff's Hut Restaurant and Bakery. That's in Torrance, California. Dinner starts at 6 p.m. and the meeting starts at 7:15. And Leroy will be there, so you can talk to him about anything you like, including what I just mentioned. All right. Thank you, Leroy. 135 people, 2 more, and we got 100 likes. And the 100th person to like tonight's show gets absolutely nothing. Yeah, so hit that like button, please. Be the 100th one.
Yeah. Didn't jump on right now.
Mitchell wants to know, Leroy is like the guy that's kicked. Oh, wait a minute. We got another one.
Got it. Number 100.
Oscar, hey, there we are. Oscar, I don't have 100 on my thing. You're faster than me. How many people are watching on yours?
12.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I got 135. All right. Oscar Geronimo, what is the most versatile fishing rod for local fishing, half to full day?
The most versatile rod. Pretty much anything that's a 12 to 30 pound test. I know that you may want a specific model and everything like that, but anything that would fit into like an 8-foot, 12 to 30, 15 to 40, I'd probably be right in what I would call most versatile.
I think we're going to have Leroy on the show because I'm getting more questions about Leroy. Is your favorite breakfast donuts?
I hate them.
Did you ever go to the donut store? I mean, when you were a cop?
Once.
One time.
once.
Well, I see all these cop cars in the donut place all the time. So what's that all about? You didn't like donuts or what?
The fattening.
Oh, they're fattening. So no, he doesn't like them. There you are. He's. What did you have for breakfast normally?
I guess it's
I don't eat breakfast.
Okay, he doesn't eat breakfast. All right, there you go. All right, Steve says Sam's spot is on hold, possibly taken.
Possibly.
Yes, so you can get on the waiting list.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brandon, out of you 40 years of fishing, your 40 years of fishing, Phil and Sam, I've been fishing more than 40 years.
Like 60 years.
Not that many, but pretty close.
Yeah, probably.
Well, wait a minute. Yeah, you're right, actually, because went to the pier when I was like 3.
Yeah.
I'm 65.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 60, how many years have I? 2 years I've been
Yeah, yeah.
fishing. I should be dead.
No.
But Leroy's still alive, so
Yeah.
if he can do it, I can
He's
do
90.
it. Yeah. Are you 90?
Have you ever used the titanium wire?
What does that have to do with you being 90? You trying to change the
Answer the
subject?
question.
Have I ever used
That's the best
titanium wire? I think they use that on my hernia in China. You know when I had my hernia surgery in China? My co-teacher comes, she's doing the translation, and then she goes, the doctor says he can cut off some fat and throw away. Do you want him to do that? And I go, yeah, sure, I don't care. I don't know if he did it or not. So I just know I was in a lot of pain when I came out of that surgery. So that's pretty good. All right,
Take their word for
I don't know
it.
why I came up with that right at this moment.
Titanium wire.
Yeah, that's it. And then they sewed it up with titanium wire. Thank you, Sam. All right, so we're back to his question. Of the 40 years, have you seen albacore and bluefin and yellowfin bite at the same time? I have definitely seen it. Have you?
Trying to think. I've seen albacore
I've been
and
on
yellowfin,
kelps.
and I've seen albacore and bluefin, but I don't know if I've seen all 3.
I have. I've seen them on a kelp. You know what's weird? Sometimes you'll hit a kelp, you catch albacore, and you drift off the kelp or whatever, and then now it's yellowfin.
Yeah, that I've seen. Yeah.
And then you drift a little further, and then it's bluefin. It's just weird how they're not all mixed. It kind of goes from species to species. Not all the time, but I've certainly seen that happen before. Bob Osborne tells a story. They were on a boat, I think the Real Special. A guy by the name of Homer Lightfoot used to run it out of Redondo back in the 70s. And he had a kelp just like that, just went from bluefin to yellowfin to albacore. It was just incredible. All right, Daniel Lightfoot, this is Michael again. What's going on at 22nd Street Landing tomorrow?
Well, half-day boat in the morning, and we're going to try to go out and catch some of that, I was going to say albacore. Some of that.
I got him
barracuda.
brainwashed.
Some of that barracuda that they're catching there locally at the Horseshoe Kelp. So come on down, Michael.
Ooh, you gave the spot away. They're going to be angry with you.
Yeah. Big secret.
Yeah, I know, really.
They just follow me around. So.
Yeah. Go to where the 800 boats are tomorrow.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the secret spot. Yeah.
That's exactly where the secret spot is.
All right, one cool tuna at Andrew. Yes, it started. Jansec 123 carbon fiber. Cue ball. I've caught 4 species on the same kelp patty. Well, I didn't get the boogied that came through.
Big eye.
Big eye, I'm sorry, that came through, but in the 1990s. Hey, we're out of questions right now. I don't know if you want to say goodnight to everybody or what.
Goodnight.
We could do that, right? Or
Whatever you want.
huh?
It's whatever you want.
Yeah. Well, I
It's
mean,
been almost 2 hours.
yeah, it's been a long. Yes, Leroy has something to
See
say.
that picture with the 3 guys there?
See that picture with the 3 guys? Yes.
That's big eye tuna
Big eye tuna,
on the
Royal Star. Royal Star.
Royal Star.
that was the
1922.
that was the first.
You were there?
It was the first. I'm on the right there.
Oh,
We caught.
they
big
had
eye,
cameras in those days.
We caught big eye,
That's a drawing.
albacore, yellowfin, and yellowtail and dorado.
There you are. That was like 6 species.
That was years ago.
Yeah, and then you were on that same trip. You were lift poling blue perch, right?
Yes. Yes.
So,
yes. Full
like
speed.
8.
Maiden
Full
voyage,
speed.
maiden voyage on a Royal Star, and that Joe Pfister from
Saber rods.
Saber, he chartered it.
Joe Pfister. I have a photo of Joe standing in front of Point Loma sport fishing back in the 70s. All right, we're back to more questions. Leroy screwed us. Let's get it. Just kidding, Leroy. Thank you. That was a great addition to the show. Cue ball. Yes. Whoops. He meant big eye tuna. Julio Flores. Is gloomy weather good for tuna fishing?
It's not good or bad. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. It seems like a little bit of wind doesn't hurt, But I've caught plenty of tuna in flat calm weather too.
Yep. Gloomy weather, though, is associated with a certain type of tuna because the water stays cool. I'm not sure what kind that
Big eye?
is.
Is it big eye?
Yeah, it might be big eye. Yeah, big
bullet,
eye.
Bullet tuna?
But no bullet. No, I don't know. Skippies.
Blackfin?
Blackfin, maybe.
Yeah.
False albacore.
False albacore.
No. Real albacore. Not the false
Gloomy
ones.
weather's amazing for thrush or shark fishing. I can tell you that.
There you are. I love this guy's
June
name.
gloom.
Well, I don't think we've ever had this guy on the show. Fishing Vida. Fishing life. Man, this guy is right on. Hey, Phil, Nick from BPS. Will a Shimano Speedmaster be a good reel for nighttime bluefin? You got to stop by the store soon, especially since Bob will be retiring. Yeah, Bob's retiring? Bass Pro Shops. Oh, I didn't know that. Man, definitely, I have to do that. Give Bob my very, very best. And Nick, I love your handle there, Fishing Vita. Sam,
Yeah.
I would answer the question, but I'll throw you one here. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Nah, you go ahead. Yeah, of course, that's a fine reel. That would work perfectly. You just have to wind down a little bit hard on those fish, and you'll have it
What
good.
size what size Speedmaster would you choose?
Oh, the 20, I think, would be okay.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Or 25?
Yeah, there you are.
you
See, what do you think you're screwing with
I
here?
was, yeah.
That was a lucky guess, the 20. Let me tell you. Go ahead. Hey, what do you got? Phone calls coming in?
Yeah.
We're still doing a show here. Did you want to answer his show? Or his question?
That was it. Yeah, 20
Oh,
or 25
I nailed it,
is what
huh?
I would do. Yeah.
There you are, cue
You
ball.
got
There was yellowtail and dorado there also. I was just talking about tuna. It was amazing. Yeah, sometimes you get those trips where you're catching everything. Peter V, getting ready to head out the door. I'll be fishing with Joe Russo, Pete Demers. Why am I not on this trip? Marcel and Vinny Terrorisi on Joe's boat tonight and tomorrow. Joe told me he was going to take me with Pete Demers.
Dude.
Pete,
Yeah.
I wish you the very best. You
Out
let
in the
Joe
open-
know
out in the open here.
how angry I am. No, I'm not. Hey, good luck to all you guys. I love Pete Demers. You know who Pete Demers is?
Yeah.
Yeah, the trainer for the LA Kings. Great guy.
I've seen the show. It's pretty
Super
cool.
good guy. Yeah, I love Pete. Wish you guys the best of luck. Tell Joe to get some good video, not to be slacking off. All right, Sam, you want to say anything about, are you giving anything, do people get a
Okay.
deal this week, or have you forgotten about that?
I have.
No,
yeah.
he's thinking about it. Yeah.
You know what though, with this tuna fishing here, we'll continue to do the buy two get one free on the knife jigs, which was something that I know some guys were kind of waiting for. I had a few guys ask me after the last time we did the promotion whether we were still doing it. I said no, you got to do it on the week we're doing it.
Right.
And so if you just come in and ask for the buy two get one free knife jig deal, we'll do that here until Saturday.
Okay, perfect. And is
Tomorrow on the Monte Carlo.
right? Is there?
Me,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Luna and Diego, my kids, will
Yes.
be going on there. And so if you want to bring your kids down, it would be a fun trip.
Yeah, and do kids go free on Wednesday on the boat or what?
Yes.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, Wednesdays is the deal, yeah.
With a paid adult,
With a
right?
paid adult, yeah.
One kid. Mm-hmm. Oh, perfect, right?
Yeah.
And
Bring
then
your
Luna
kid
and
down.
Diego, you got kids, so they can all mix and
It's going to be fun, yeah.
have a
I think
good
it's gonna
time.
be
Maybe
fun.
Michael Limon can get down there.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And I'll try to make it also. And maybe we'll get Leroy down there, you know? That would be good. And James
Really?
Mosier.
Yeah.
I've caught
No,
more
we're-
fish on Monte Carlo than.
We're going down on our boat
I've
tomorrow.
got about more fish than
Well,
you'll ever
we're
catch.
going to take
Le-
a bunch of kids fishing so you can help with the kids.
Yeah, I'll go.
All right.
Oh, there you are. Leroy's going.
Leroy's going.
Uh-oh. Mass
So if you wanna ask-
cancellations.
yeah, if you want to ask about his cop questions,
Oh,
we'll be
yeah.
there.
You mean how my stepkids were shooting
Yeah,
lamps?
yeah.
Yeah, that was
What-
fun.
What
I'll
do you guys
tell
for
you.
breakfast? All that kind of stuff. Engaging.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
He's back here saying that he's caught more fish on the Monte Carlo than any of you schmucks, including you and me. Right?
That's a nice bluefin right there.
Sir,
Whoa, who caught that?
That,
Oh, so that's Scott Buchert.
that looks like that was on the El Dorado, looks like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, there's all kinds of nice fish.
No.
All right,
Yeah.
Sam, how do people come down and visit you? When are you open? I'll walk over here.
So
James,
we're here,
let me slide behind
10 to
you.
6.
I'm
Monday
going to have to
through
move
Saturday.
you just a little bit. There you go.
10
Thank
to
you.
6 Monday through Saturday. We're here at 21809 Avalon
you, brother.
Boulevard in the city of Carson. You can reach us at 310-707-1205. And once again, that's Monday through Saturday, 10 to 6.
All right, and James Mosier was part of our studio audience. And do you want to see the cop one more time? There he is, Leroy. Oh, I thought you were doing something else with your fingers. Thank God. It's what I barely saw. Did somebody have another question? Can you Thursday for the tackle?
Call you Thursday for the tackle backpack.
Yes.
Won't
There you
be
go.
there.
That sound good?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I'll be here tomorrow after the morning half day, so call it about 1:30 or 2. I'll probably be here tomorrow. So if you need it for tomorrow, we can be here tomorrow. If not, I'll be here all day Thursday.
For Sam De La Torre, James Mosier, and Leroy Janelowitz, another Tackle Shop Confessions in the books on the Friedman Adventures YouTube channel. I'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, for the morning briefing. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon.